Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing tonight? This is another hangout, another roundtable, another good discussion. I am sending the invites right now. I'm not sure who's coming, who's not. Just for those who are watching and those who have been part of this, I'm going to be inviting new people over old people. If you are a creator, come on in. Let me see that you're here. Let me have you invite. Basically, the goal of this tonight is kind of hang out, talk about comics, talk about what we love. You want to see my forehead? Sorry, I wasn't even looking at the screen. We're going to talk about all sorts of really cool things, allow you guys to hang out with me and my friends. I just got back from a very, very cool signing that I'm super excited about. I am trying to find hold on, a couple things. Trying to find my live, so I should be live on my own Facebook. Want to make sure that. Want to make sure that anyone can see your comments. And if nobody shows up to hang out with me, that's okay. I'll just chill. But I'm sure people will because I have a lot of friends in the industry. So, good evening. Welcome to Creator Hangout. We've been doing these a lot lately. They've been a lot of fun. And I've been pretty happy with the results thus far. Like I said, if you are a creator and you would like to join, go ahead and look at your messages. Oh, Mr. Drawn Talk is already here. How are you?
I'm good, dude. You posted that link publicly on that post.
I don't give a I decide whether or not they come in.
I dig
so
it.
It doesn't really matter. You see, you may have a little private chat with your little Patreon and your little groups, Mr. Tyler Drawn Talk, but I don't. I just kind of wing this and kind of just make comics. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta get into that. You gotta get into that exclusivity club though.
People I've like been that. Thinking. To be honest, I've actually been thinking about it.
You should.
But I'm deciding between Patreon and Substack.
You can do both. Why not do both?
Because I can only manage one.
That's right? True. I'll tell you, when I saw the Substack stuff, I was like, this is just Patreon.
It is, absolutely.
It's just Patreon. I have a Substack. I don't like it. I don't like the interface and crap on it.
But the cred, right? The cred of having a Substack would make me feel bigger. It doesn't make me bigger. It just makes me feel bigger.
Because you're like, oh, well, Donnie Cates got a Substack. I got a Substack. Like, we're on the same platform together.
Right. We're basically the same.
No, it's true because, like, if mainstream customers are like, oh, I guess Substack is where we go now for comics, you're like, hey, well, you're already on Substack. I'm on Substack.
Well, you want to hear my idea? It's very similar to yours.
I'm ready.
So what I want to do is I want to have someone on my Patreon or Substack. I want to have someone create comics with me.
Nice.
So I am going to let my Patreon, whatever, decide the next comic that I make, decide what it looks like, and kind of talk about the whole process and let them be part of that. Hey, here's the artist that I'm thinking about hiring. Which one should I hire?
I love it.
And go through a whole comic, one Kickstarter comic, do that whole thing, and then add people involved. So we've got people coming in the back. So what we're going to do, we're going to invite people. So I just invited Tyler in really quick, but everyone's going to get a chance to promote themselves. We've done this a couple of times. It's been a lot of fun. If you're a creator, you can private message me if you want to get in. We are going to try to keep it a little bit tighter than last time because last time we had like 10, a lot of people. But we'll see what happens. And we're going to ask some questions. If you got shit to promote, let's promote it. Let's have a silly goose time, as Tyler says.
Do you see that?
I see that.
Right next to my Battle of the Bands winner trophy.
By the way, Josh and John, I see you guys. I'm going to get you in a minute. I was this close to coming to Utah to see you. Almost this close. I decided against that. I decided to go to New Hampshire instead. But I just wanted to.
I heard it wasn't very good. Fan X this year.
Oh, no. I was actually going to come for another reason next week. There's a conference that I go to.
The for your church.
Yeah.
But, gotcha.
But I decided to go to New Hampshire.
Hey, COVID's happening here, though. Like COVID, everyone's getting hit in Utah with COVID.
I'm in Florida. Come on now.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Right. So let's add some people. Mr. John Westhoff, how are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I feel like I'm a darn celebrity getting you in here. Like, you're a big deal.
No.
You're a big deal. And also,
Not at all.
Mr. Publisher, Joshua Starnes, he's not showing himself on camera.
I'm on. I thought I could.
He's a
hang on.
secret.
No one can see you. You're just
No one can see me. Try again.
Secret.
Try again.
Hey.
With less fail. Oh, he's
Nope.
gone.
And he just left. Man, just like that. Deuces.
We got some people in the chat. We got Nicholas Mueller. It's Tyler and Travis. Yes. The double T's, as I like to. Oh, the double T's. Good evening, comic creators. Hey, Steven, how are you? Jeff Weber's there. Hello, my guys. And Alfie is here. Oh, and we're going to try Joshua again.
All right. Do I exist now? All right.
He's back and better than ever.
How is everyone doing this very expensive comic day if you went to the comic store?
I have not frequented the comic store. I'm a mail order guy these days, but yeah.
Do you do the Gmart?
I usually do DCBS or in-stock trades or something like that.
Okay. All right. I'm just learning about the Gmart. I have a good discount at my comic store, so it doesn't make sense to me. But I guess from what I understand, you order comics and you get them like 2 weeks late, but you get like a 40% discount.
Yeah, DCBS is the same. Actually, you get them close to on time, but they do a good discount, so I've used them a lot. If any of my local shops, we have amazing ones in the Chicagoland area, would just do like 10% off, like 15%, I would buy a lot more comics. But yeah, they get stingy with the discounts.
Right. I think it's a rough product margin these days.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
All the way around everywhere.
For sure.
Joshua,
Everyone on this call knows that.
Joshua, how are you?
I'm all right. Just getting out of the Texas summer and trying to get stuff lined up for fall.
Okay. All right. Did you go to Dallas?
No. So we did the last thing we did was we did Comic Palooza, and we set up some stuff for some of in San Jose with some creators we had out there. We've been trying to like judge what things were going to be like in the fall and what actual attendance was going to be. But most of the stuff that we're looking at setting up for is we're going to be starting in the spring. So looking at WonderCon, looking at everything that's coming from March on downwards into next year. So hopefully back into regular schedule, actually seeing people.
Nice. So let's go around the room for people who don't know what's going on and know who we are. Let me show a couple more comments. We got Jeff. I'll hit up next Wednesday. I go every other week. Well, Jeff, I don't tend to do these when I don't have a Kickstarter live, so you may not see me, but we'll see. If I'm live, we'll do it. And Brian Silverbeck says, trade some in-store appearance for that discount, baby.
Oh man, if I could do that.
They don't want me for that either.
That worked.
Like they want us that bad. Come on. All right, so let's go around the room. We're going to start with Mr. Draw and Talk since he was the first one in. We'll go as order of appearance. Tyler, who are you?
What's up?
What do you
What's
do?
up?
Why are you here? You don't do comics?
I do comics. I'm working on a comic right now. I'm also working on a manga, but I'm also working on a comic. Yeah, what's up? My name's Tyler, and I'm the host of the YouTube show Draw and Talk, which I deleted 300 videos yesterday, all of the ones that made me money. All the ones that had over 10,000 to 80,000 views, I deleted all of those yesterday. And new channel, doing some awesome stuff, though. I'm the writer and artist of a awesome series called The Girl with the Megafists, which you can read currently on patreon.com/drawandtalk for $2 a month.
The best in indie comics talk about clickbait. Yeah, Chuck. Well, you're more than welcome to come in and send me a message.
That's me.
John, what's going on? Tell us about Part-Time Comics.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name's John Westhoff. I am a 10-ish year veteran of the publishing scene. Now with my new company in 2020, Part-Time Comics. And we just launched our third Kickstarter for this year. Historically, haven't done this many, but you know what? I'm getting old, so I'm taking a last-ditch effort to try and get all these ideas out of my head out onto paper. So I have been very fortunate to meet some great people and that want to work with me still. So I'm a writer, letterer, publisher. Now I'm learning how to flat color. So I'm trying to do a little bit of everything to get these books out there.
Nice. Definitely. I did not know Depowered was yours. I don't know why. I did not know that. I will back it now. I did not know. I apologize.
I guess I should have been louder. You say I'm a
Yeah.
celebrity.
It says your name right under it, John.
Oh, there's so many things bouncing around. It's all right.
All right.
I mean, I feel the same way. I feel like you have a Kickstarter every other week or something you're promoting. So it's hard to keep up with everybody.
You're making it weird. John. Braden, I see you. Just so you know, I'll get you in a minute. Joshua, tell everyone who you are.
Hi.
What do you prefer?
Either one, actually. I have no preference.
Okay.
I'm Josh Starnes. I am the co-publisher at Red 5 Comics and an itinerant writer of comics myself. So I've got my new series. The Box is out now, started last month, and issue number 2 is in stands today as of New Comic Book Day. So you get out to your New Comic Book Day today, check out a copy of The Box number 2.
You know, it was not in my folder. I'm going to have to contact my store and see what is up. I don't know if it was Diamond, but I haven't seen it on a lot of racks either. Have you seen it in the wild today?
I did not have a chance to go out and go around. I was going to go over to Space Cadets and see if they had theirs.
I wonder if it was a Diamond delay because I look at a lot of like racks for the week.
Interesting. I know everything when I looked at. So we got ours direct from the printer last week, which is usually about a week ahead of time. When I looked on the Diamond vendor site, it showed that everything had been delivered, and they didn't have any more outstanding on their end. So they're out there, unless there are some shipment delays or things are arriving after New Comic Book Day. Diamond thinks they're out there, so
unless it's Diamond, right? I understand.
Unless it's Diamond, exactly. So we still still have to live and deal with no matter what changes, things stay the same.
We're gonna add Braden Cox to the thing.
Hello.
He's got a cool Kickstarter live as well. Sever.
Oh, yep, yeah. So we're almost to the final stretch. We got 9 days to go. We're fully funded. We're 105% funded, and yeah, we're still trying to hit some stretch goals. We're 13 backers away from unlocking the next digital comic bundle, which will feature Chuck and Sean's Belial #1, Frank Martin's Modern Testament #1, and then a mini comic that I wrote called Unholy Confessions of a Hungry Nun.
Sounds
and that's
very,
done. Yeah.
Sounds friendly.
Yeah. Oh, yes, very. It's actually really cool. I got one of Emmanuel Sotomayor. He does a lot of the animated comic panels for Crit TV. He came and worked on the short with me, so it's really awesome. It's really cool.
Awesome. All right, so what we're going to do today, we're going to talk a little bit about all your projects. We're going to go one more time around and talk specifically about everyone's projects. We always have goals, so I want to know you guys' numbers if you guys have Kickstarters. What your goals are, or if you have a Patreon, what number you're at, and we're going to try to get to the next whole number. So how many Patreon subscribers do you have right now, Tyler?
I've got 42.
42. So we're going to try to go to 45 with Tyler. So
damn, 45. There we go. I like that.
That's one of our goals tonight. John, what are you at for backers right now? I should have done this after I backed, but let's see. You're at 33, so we're gonna try to get you to 35. And Braden, where are you at?
See, I'm at 62 backers and 1588 out of 1,500.
I'm not worried about your money. I'm worried about your fans. So we're trying to get you 3 backers, and then where am I at? And again, this is just a sub goal. We're going to talk about it. I'll bring it up several times. I'm at 166, so I need to go to 170. So 4 more backers. So does everybody understand all that shenanigans? We got Danny here. saying hi. Danny runs the store, The Collective. Very, very good store. So, Tyler. Actually, let me introduce myself. I'm Travis Gibb. You guys are fans of me, or you wouldn't know me because this is only going out to my network. But in case you don't, I create comic books, Broke Down in Four Dead Bodies, Voodoo Nations, Cthulhu Invades Oz, and I've got a brand new Kickstarter out right now called Expired. Expired is about a world that is only 7 islands. So basically, Hawaii, 98% of the oxygen is not, sorry, 98% of the world is covered in water. Oxygen is very limited. There's a ruling class that dictates how much water everybody gets. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Kickstarter's live for another 5 days. All right, what do we got? Danny, we have tons of PayPal funds burning a hole in our pocket. Who has a retail tier?
Oh, I totally have a retailer deal, and I sold one. So
Sever's got one. What about you, John? Teal?
We do, and we actually have for all the books in 2021. We have a retailer tier, so yeah, you can get a whole bunch of stuff. And of course, Danny, if you jump on that, I'll throw in some extra books from my Kingbone press days. Give you a whole bunch of extra stuff to sell at your shop. But
they don't want your old books; they want your new stuff. Give me some links. So if you guys can private message your links, I can get them in the chats. We'll get that going. All right. So back to Tyler.
What up? I'm ready. I haven't done a live show in forever, so I'm ready. What I gotta do?
Tell us about these books and these other mangas, I think they call them.
Oh my gosh. Can I share my screen? Am I allowed to do that?
I will allow.
I appreciate that.
how dare you?
You may regret that decision later.
It helps me showcase. This is.
Oh, whoa!
We knew it.
Whoa.
And you knew it. You were walking right.
All right. So when you sign up for my Patreon at $2, that's the minimum. We'll just get the minimum. You get access to this page, which has all of my comics. I haven't put Demons on there yet. This is the series I'm working on right now. It's called The Girl with the Megafist. Every 2 weeks, we put a new 12-page chapter on there. Every 2 weeks, you get a new 12-page chapter. In fact, on Friday, someone messaged me today. They were like, "I'm so excited for Chapter 4 this week," and I was like, "Chapter 4 is this week?" Luckily, I'm like halfway through Chapter 6. So every single week, this is mobile phone friendly. So it just pops up on your phone. You can just use your finger to swipe. But every 2 weeks we update and we pull out a new chapter, and they're just these black and white books. The Girl with the Megafist is a story of Eliana, and she has been chosen by the Mega Gods to wield the Mega Fist and protect Earth. And so this is Travis. I've planned this series. I think there's going to be 14 volumes, each volume being anywhere around 150 pages.
Okay.
This is 5 or 6 years of dedication on this book that I'm planning. And so this is going to be on Kickstarter in February. This is going to be on Kickstarter in February. The thing about the thing that helps me with the Patreon is if you want to read it early, if you want to read the chapters every week, you with a $2 tier, you get access. You get to read them weekly. The $5 tier, it gets you the Patreon exclusive covers, which is this is the Patreon exclusive cover for Volume 1 by an awesome artist named Doncha. And then this helps also fund the book before the Kickstarter. So by the time I launch the Kickstarter, the printing will be paid for and the shipping. So I'll have the book in my hand when we do the Kickstarter.
And this Kickstarter won't be canceled?
No, it will not.
Wow,
Be.
I was gonna ask, but I'm glad you didn't. So.
I have chefs right here. It's somewhere on my desk. It's right here.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just asking.
I know. Check it out. I finished. People are like, "It's because you didn't finish the book." I'm like, "No, I finished it. And this is the proof copy." I just didn't want to do this series currently, but it's right here.
Okay.
I'm actually everyone who subbed to my Patreon a couple months ago. I actually have a box full of these books coming, and anyone who subbed at $5 or more, I'm sending this book to them.
Nice.
And what else? And what else do they get besides? They get other stuff besides comics. They get your content, right? Like you get exclusive videos and exclusive hangouts and all that.
I do an exclusive podcast on there called The Broken Creators. Someone just said it's Tyler's Bitch Fest. I'm like, yep. It's where I just rant and I go, oh, today was so hard. Making comics is the worst. But this is the big thing. Like this is where most of the things. Anytime I make a comic, I'll say, hey guys, I just upload this new comic on there. Like if you were part of the Entity campaign, you know, there's all of it digital. There's Chefs, all of it digital. This is a series. This is book 1 that we did. My Life is RPG. Every time we get a new, so we've got these goals right here. So if we get 100 patrons, we add another ongoing series.
Okay.
So if we get to 100 patrons, I then hire my friend Milana Ferris, and he does multiple My Life is RPG books every single year. If we get 500 patrons, we make a comic together. If we get 1,000 patrons, we do Chef's graphic novels, 2 Chef's graphic novels every single year. These are massive numbers, so it's a slow burn. The big series I'm working on is this, the girl with the mega fist, and if I'm able to reach those numbers, that's great. If not, we're still just going to be doing this series.
So I got a question. I'm gonna ask Josh. As someone who's a publisher, is someone doing this, gathering some fans, showing that they have an ongoing fan base, a stronger way than like a Kickstarter? Because you're seeing that there's monthly support, or do you think a Kickstarter is better, or do you think that it's just kind of there's all different ways to get in? Just out of curiosity, just a curiosity question.
There's all different ways. I'd say, you know, the monthly support is good. It sort of depends on the numbers and what like Kickstarter has that element of, especially, you know, if you've got a cash number that you can point to, and like I was able to basically pre-sell this much volume of my material. You know, the fans, it's the same, but you know, you also look at the number of backers or something. So, and that's like really analogous to number of Patreon supporters, and those numbers start to get up there every, you know, you're looking at over 100, or like with some of these goals, if somebody has like over 1,000, then you know, especially, and who's going to follow them for every book they do. That's something where you're looking at like, okay, so I can count on probably X number of sales. There's always, you throw in a percentage there, but that's going to translate, if they're going to their store, that's going to translate to to X number of orders you can count on. That was like, this is a while ago, but I think it probably still holds. This was something Warren Ellis would say. It was probably going back to like the early 2000s, when he would bounce back and forth between companies doing different projects. And he'd say, I bring 20,000 readers with me everywhere I go, who are going to read every book, any book I do. And you know, that's worth something now, where it's hard to get a book up to 20,000 readers. So, and that's not like the only, you know, it's not like that's not the number you have to get to before it's, you know, before that it's meaningful. But you start to have like 500 people who are going to follow you and read everything you need, everything you make. 1,000 people who are going to follow you and read everything you make. That means something.
Yeah. In fact, last week, are you want to show a little bit more, Tyler?
No, this is that's it. That's my pitch. You can follow me at youtube.com/drawandtalk. That's where I'm most active, on YouTube and Twitter, and Patreon. Those are the places. I'm very rarely on Facebook unless I want to see Travis's face.
Nice. Nice. We're gonna add Russell as well. All right. I don't know who you are, but
he's getting important calls.
He's a publisher.
He's hot.
One of the things I love about tonight, which is really cool, you got some Kickstarter creators. We've got Red 5, the publisher, who does ongoing. We got Russ Allen, the author. He is an author, more of an author than a comic book guy. Not that he won't be doing comics very, very soon. So I think it's kind of cool that we've got all these different facets of creativity tonight. So, Russell, since you're here, why don't you go tell everybody who you are, what you do, who your baby is, why your mom loves you, all that stuff.
Well, if you don't know me, I'm Russell Allen with Russ Explode Studios. I am a podcaster. I bring on indie creators of all walks. We've had cooking shows, life coaches, authors, writers, poets, comic creators, everything. You know, if you got something you want to come and talk about, you want to talk about your passions and your inspirations, I bring those on. I also just published my first book, Zen on Nanite, in the fall before the rise. This is my 10-year baby in the works. I wrote it 10 years ago. It ended up being 900 pages. It was like my magnum opus. And then my son had open heart surgery at birth. And I was like, oh, I'll finish it while I'm in the hospital. I just could never really get in the mindset to finish it. And, just life kept happening. And so last year I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make this happen. And that's kind of my inspirational story. They found out that I had a mass on my liver and a mass on my spine. It came back evidence of malignancy, and I'm like, what do I regret not doing most? Not doing this, and then to leave something behind for my two kids. So I kicked ass. I took names. I got together with some indie artists. People were suffering last year because of COVID. Everything shut down. So I ended up doing something I never planned on doing, and that was chapter illustrations. We got Steph Wilson. We've got Wendy Steenshainer. Just beautiful pieces of art that to help out indie creators that I was having on the show. And then, something that was born out of this, 3 years ago, I found Comic Book for Kids. It's an organization that sends comic books, pop figurines, Pez dispensers, coloring books to uh, hospitals and cancer centers nationwide. Kids that may not ever get to go home again. They distribute these comics to these hospitals. They hand them out to these kids. These things could be the reason a parent sees their kid smile for the last time. So I feel really heartfelt about this organization just due to the fact of Roderick. He had open heart surgery at a week old.
Right.
He had another one at 2.5. So when I found out about the organization 3 years ago, which now he's 6, I was like, I love what you do, Mark. I want to be a part of this. So I donated every week. Well, this comes out, and I get with that guy, Steph Wilson. And I'm like, hey, I'd like to include a T-shirt that says I'm a Titan for CB4K, and it has me reading a book to my son after an open heart surgery with my daughter at the end of the bed with a get well balloon. The first Kickstarter failed, but Mark happened to get online after reaching out to a bunch of people. Nobody get back with him about doing shirts. He gets online and here he sees this Xenonanite Titan, I'm a Titan for CB4K t-shirt. Him knowing me for 3 years, he reaches out, he says, Russ, how would you like to be the official t-shirt supplier for CB4K? And I said, I'm honored, but let's do it. So this was a blessing in disguise. One door closed with the Kickstarter failing, but another one opened. I was able to become a part of this organization, give back tenfold to stuff that my sons received, the gifts they brought him to help him out after his open heart surgeries that helped us out because he was entertained for, 10, 15, 20 minutes. We were able to be there for each other, my wife and I. And so moving forward, now I've got, the art of Rodney Fike. I've got Wendy Steenshainer, April Grady Rain. I've got the Mark CB4K art. I've got all this awesome apparel available on the website as well as this book. The book is the only thing that the proceeds don't go 100% towards CB4K. And then I'm also running the Comic Books for Kids charity auction through Russ Explode Studios, which has a bunch of art. We're always accepting donations. As these pieces sell, 100% of the money I send over to Mark, and it goes to shipping the stuff to these kids. So, what turned out as a dream 10 years ago has become much more. And, it was a blessing, finally getting to see this in print, and it really kicked it in gear. I just did an anthology project with Wendy Steenshainer that'll be coming out soon. That's got a story from me in it. It's a comic anthology. So, things have really picked up, and I'm really excited to work with a group of people and be able to give back to the community more than I take in, because I think we need to support each other just as much as we sell ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a lot, Russ.
Sorry.
Yeah, right. I think I need. Can you write a book that tells me all the things you do? Just so
I sure can. Can you tell that I run a podcast? I have no problem talking. I mean, you put me in the spotlight, and I can just take it away. But that sums everything up. That's the Cliff Notes.
So that's Russell Allen. If you don't know Russell Allen, he does everything. Just come along for the ride is basically what I've seen with Russell. Just come along for the ride and try to keep up. Joshua, we're going to go to you next. And I wanted to show you what Danny just said. We just got our huge Red 5 order in, and it's been selling like gangbusters. Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah, so that's really, really good to hear. So absolutely. So Joshua we've only been friends we've been Facebook friends for probably a couple of years, but recently we've become more friends. What I love is Red 5's been taking on a lot of indie creators, a lot of Kickstarter creators, and I think that that's a great initiative. So we've been talking a lot more because, as you guys know, I'm very involved in that scene. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Red 5, and then more importantly, tell us about the box. Issue 2's out, what all that's about. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
All right. So Red 5 is a small publisher. We're based in Houston, Texas. We got founded in 2007, and we've just sort of been moving along up a little, sometimes a little above the radar, sometimes a little below the radar, sort of doing our thing, putting out the kind of books that we like. And when people ask, like, what does Red 5 publish? We just say, like, I have a co-partner, Scott, and he'll say the same thing that I will, what we like. And kind of what Travis was saying, especially about looking at indie creators and Kickstarter creators, what I like kind of runs a wide gamut from, cool high concept action adventure series that wouldn't be too far out of whack at Image or IDW to really strange balls to the wall crime stories and indie comics to 70s underground comics to manga to I cast a wide net, so I'm looking for anything that sort of falls into that net. And so it's hard to sum up like the whole well, thank you, Danny. That's right. That is what it is. We publish great original books is what Red 5 publishes. I don't know why I'm making a whole giant program out of it when you can just get it down to just like one simple sentence. Yeah. And hopefully continue to publish more great original books. We've got a really cool lineup for next year, and I'm still adding to it. So and my goal is to make next year the most new titles that we have ever published before in a given calendar year. So we're getting there. We're not there yet, but we got some things kind of clicking into place, and I'm still out there every day, kind of hunting for guys who have really cool ideas, really cool books that haven't gotten out to the biggest audiences they could, and trying to bring it out into direct market, bring it out into the book market, and create a bigger audience for all this cool stuff out there, like the box. The box is my current baby that I worked with a new artist named Raymond Estrada, who this is the first thing he did, his first published work after graduating from the Kubert School last year, kind of in the middle of the pandemic, and he went off looking for work. And luckily, I had some for him because I had set myself during the Diamond closure last year and the store closure last year at the beginning of the pandemic to finally finish one of the many scripts that I have been slowly sort of working on for the last couple of years and never finishing. I finally sat down to do one and get it done, and that ended up being the box, which especially, and I put a lot of this on Raymond's shoulders, who had to physically conceptualize a lot of the weird stuff that I was writing for him, but is one of my favorite things that I've written. It's taking the classic kind of noir detective story and adding a strange occult twist to it. It's about a private detective who has discovered a magic box that can give you anything that you ask for out of it. But it also has a mind of its own and will sometimes give you whatever it feels like giving you. So you really never quite know what is going to come out of it. And with anything that's powerful people know about it and want it for their own. So he finds himself framed for kidnapping and on the run from the police because the mob wants the box from him. They're going to do anything they can to make him hand it over. So it's a bit like the Maltese Falcon. If instead of it being like a jewel-encrusted bird, it was a magic box that could give you whatever you wanted.
Nice. And I've read the first issue. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to steal your artist at some point as well. But that's irrelevant on that. So he's so good. He's so good. Brett. Oh, mobsters! I'm in. Yeah. Brett does mobster stuff, but yeah, it's a great book, and we can get that from the website.
Yeah.
Would you prefer from the website, or would you prefer from comic store?
If you've got I'm fine. If you've got a local store, I always say support your local store. There's fewer and fewer from every year. They're great partners of ours. Red 5 wouldn't exist without your local comic store. And I always say if you have a local, but for whatever reason, your local store isn't carrying the book. They don't carry that many small indies, or you don't have a local store, come to the web store, and I will take care of things for you.
And you do have an exclusive, don't you, on the web?
We do. So if it's something you can't get at the web store, you can come there. We did a limited run variant cover for Comic-Con for San Diego this year, for the virtual Comic-Con this year, that I still have some copies of left. So if you like, Raymond did a really great exclusive cover. You can come and get that directly from Red 5. We also did a series of exclusives for several stores. We did one for Hive Comics. We did one for Hand Comics, Rick City. We've got a list of them on the box site. So there's some great covers. We did one for Exchange Collectibles with a fantastic Alan Quah cover. That's don't tell Raymond I said this was actually my favorite cover of all the box covers. I'm just kidding, Raymond. Actually, Raymond's cover for issue 1 is fantastic.
Raymond in the chat right now.
So lots of great options out there for it.
So being a creator and a publisher in this time, how are you hanging in there?
Taking every day, one day at a time. Last year was a lot harder than this year. The box has actually, we've been seeing things picking up ever since the spring. The box has actually been our number one, has been our highest ordered number one since the pandemic started. So I'm taking that as good signs, and we've got a bunch of stuff lined up for the fall. We've got 4 big releases in November and December. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of a trend. And we're seeing things starting, that slow crawl back to something like normalcy we've all been going through over the last 2 years or so.
Yeah. On the first one of these we did a couple weeks ago, we had Ben on, and he was talking about carriers and what that's like. And so we've had Red 5 on here a few times. We had Scout on here, David. So we've got people from all walks, but yeah. All right. Let's check out our numbers to see if our numbers have changed for anybody. Tyler, have you got any more Patreons?
No, it's gonna be a hard sell, man.
No, we're gonna push it. We're gonna push
guys, that's gonna be a hard sell. $2 a month. $2 a month. Read a comic every 2 weeks.
Right.
Every 2 weeks.
And
cheaper than his OnlyFans, which is $10 a month.
You get some exclusive stuff with that one.
Well, is it draw and something else?
You subscribe for that $10 perk, man. I'll send you some private DMs.
All right, John, where you at? Anything change?
Oh, I'm headed in the right direction thanks to one of your guests.
Okay,
appreciate it.
All right, what are we at?
34.
All right, so we need one more to get
there. Can't complain.
Braden, where are we at?
Still at 62, it looks
like. Don't worry about it. It'll change.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I just wanted to meet the goal.
It's all about it, but it's all about continuing to promote, continue stuff. If you don't, one of the things that I learned in marketing is you got to ask for the sale, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
If you don't ask for the sale, you're not going to get it. What do we got here? Hi, y'all. I like to back Kickstarter Travis, but I'm broke right now. Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate that. No problem. Don't worry about it. It's okay to be broke. Just share.
Yep, just share. That's always a good way. I know people, times are tough, so a share goes a long way for any of us.
And we're going to bring Brett in. Brett heard Mafia, and he got excited. Brett and I have been friends for a while. I didn't like him at first because he did crime. And that was intimidating to me, and not because of any reason except for, I didn't like it.
Except we're on very different spectrums of the crime. You go gritty, and I go cartoons. Crime?
No, Mike's cartoons. They're cartoon style, like they're anime-ish looking. They're not real people. But we will get to you in just a minute. Right now, we're going to hear about Depowered because I want to know more about Depowered. John has been killing it. I have a Magic the Gathering Kickstarter book I got from John. I've got a whole bunch of stuff from John this year. I think I've backed every one of your projects. Tell me about Depowered and why I need to get this one as well.
Well, yeah, thanks for offering me the time to talk. Yeah, Depowered is about a group of superheroes got powers about 20 years ago and then mysteriously lost them. And this is the story of one such superhero and what he does after. It's interesting to hear you speak at the beginning. I always love when people talk about, their big ideas and their high concept. And I usually start somewhere around there, and then it ends up being kind of more of a sad emo comic, because that's just kind of the person and writer I am. So it started off as a bigger story about superheroes and really kind of boiled down to really Dax and his struggles. Think of him more like an athlete after retirement more than a superhero. He moves around to the convention circuits. That's kind of where he's at. That's where he makes his income, just like us, selling books about his life at the conventions. And it's much more of a small story than you might initially think when you hear the title and look at the synopsis.
What I like, which is interesting, is, and it's kind of weird that Chuck is editing 3 of the live Kickstarters. All 3 live Kickstarters right now. He is editing all 3.
Man, the guy gets around a lot.
Right?
He does. He's a shameless shill. And this is actually my first time working with an editor. I actually kind of went back and forth about whether I had the room and the budget, and then I was able to bring him in. And, of course, as a writer, there's a little bit of pride and all that kind of stuff that goes with it. And I'm really glad I did. I kind of put him behind the 8 ball, so to speak. I waited till, right before the Kickstarter and was like, hey, Chuck, do you want to join in so we can get this going? And he was great. He's great to work with. And there's a reason why he's attached to more and more of these projects, because he's very easy to work with.
Speak of the devil.
Does a lot of extra. I'll stop saying nice things about him now that he's here. He's an asshole.
He's a piece of crap.
He
works on the shittiest of projects.
He wears a stupid pink headset and talks shit about people's books, and then for some reason we give him money. I don't know. We pay him to do this. That's so weird.
You people are dumb.
And I highly recommend it. I think 10 years again into my career, probably should have done it earlier. And he's been
that's
very.
something I totally agree with.
I think the story is much better for having brought Chuck in. So
yeah, it's weird that all books have editors, and that's the first thing that people are like, I don't need that. That's crazy, right? Like you wouldn't say, I want to write a comic book. Well, I guess I don't need an artist. I'll just write it. Well, actually, Chuck and I know one guy who did that, but most people don't do that.
I saw a book that said edited by Grammarly, and I almost threw up in my mouth.
Oh,
that was disgusting.
Yeah, we have a book that I bought that has a section that said edited by Grammarly.
I was like,
whoa. Ripped it apart and said Grammarly should not be editing a book. So John,
it's because he didn't. They didn't get Grammarly Premium. If they said edited by Grammarly Premium, all right, I'll give you some respect.
John.
Oh.
Well, Danny, thanks for asking. Again, as Travis alluded to, we've been pretty busy this year, and actually the Magic the Gathering zine was an unplanned project that I kind of took over. But, I'm happy as these kind of things build up that we can offer special deals. With successful Kickstarters, you can really give great discounts. So, CPS, our first book for Part-Time Comics, is a huge book. So I think if any retailer picks it up, and we've had one pick them up already, we're trying to offer them at enough of a discount to give them incentive to actually sell it in their shop. So I think that's a huge deal. And also, if each of the 3 books, I think it's very diverse. I kind of joked at the beginning that I kind of write sad emo comics. I definitely have a writing style, I feel like, at this point, but I think each is unique. You've got a failed superhero, you've got a failed social worker who works with possessed children, and then of course the Magic the Gathering zine is just a love letter to art and Magic the Gathering. So I think we offer enough of a diverse tier that I think it's a cool package. And that's not just speaking narcissistically. I think, for that price, I think they should move pretty good in any shop that wants to pick them up. And again, even though Travis says we're not selling old stuff, I am proud of some of our old books, and I'm happy to, like all of us, we have these piles of books that add up, and I'm happy to get them the hell out of my house and onto your shelves for a bonus.
Danny says, hold on, did I hear Magic the Gathering? Yeah, so the Collective has actually a very good gaming section as well. So that could be a good cross-sell to the gaming side on the zine. And that is a sad emo book, too. It's just about failing at playing Magic. Everyone's done that.
Every day.
I wouldn't know about that.
Right before you sent me the link, I was failing at Magic. I lost a match of Magic right before you called.
I don't know what Russell's doing. He keeps disappearing. He's going upside down. I don't know what's going on.
He's got 14 more projects he's trying to pitch. He's about to tell us about.
No, I don't know
12
what's going on. My connection keeps going unstable and it's kicking me out. So I've opened this in Google, hoping that hopefully the Google browser will have less problems. Since the last iPhone update, Safari's just been junk. So, and I'm on the iPad pulling your guys' links to pop in the comments, so it doesn't help. I'm double whammy in the.
I appreciate that, Russ. Can you put yourself on mute though when you're not talking because you got an echo that comes through? Just when you're not talking, you're good though. But I appreciate you. And we'll be there. What? Trying managing herding sheep.
Could you just stay on mute the whole time?
That's not what I said. I said not when he's talking. He can unmute himself to talk at any time. I'm not muting him forever. Russell, you may talk whatever you like. Just when you're not, mute yourself. Do you have anything to say now, Russell?
Russell, if that is your real name. You're muted.
You're muted now. Now you're still
out of
muted.
Control.
This is what's happened.
As more creators come in, the chaos ensues.
Russell had breached parallel dimensions. All right. So now we're going on to Danny wants to hear Braden. So Brett, you're going to have to wait a minute. We're going to get to you in a minute, but apparently Braden's got to pitch something about music. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Pay attention last time he talked.
Good. Yeah. So I did see Danny's comment. Yes, the book is 37 pages, black and white. Bunch of sweet covers if you want to pick them up. And this book is. I love this book a lot. It's art's done by Tim Sparvaro. It has a very Scott Pilgrim versus the World kind of art style. If you're not sure about like backing or checking it out, for the retailer perk, I'd totally send you a free PDF to read over. But anyway, so the story of Sever is going to be a 3-part horror romance, and it's inspired by heavy metal and the fact of like friends getting together to start a band. Because, I mean, you and your group of friends. How many times have you and your group of friends just got together and be like, "Hey, let's start a band. Let's start a gaming competition team," or it's kind of the idea of friends initializing and taking that kind of idea. But the story of Sever follows Chloe Williams, otherwise known as Ellipsis.
Wait, hold on, you can't skip by that real fast. All right.
Okay.
Everyone has friends. How many people have tried to start a band in this group? Raise your hand.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Okay, all right. So about half. I stand corrected. I thought.
Dude, you see the
whole
check
reason
out
I
this
started playing drums. Yeah.
See that trophy right there? Up there next to the
Silly Goose Time? That's Battle of the Bands winner 2008.
What?
Hell yeah.
Flex.
Wait, what do you play?
I'm dead serious. Dude, I sang and I composed.
What do you play?
I was
I
was the lead man.
So I played a little bit of guitar, but I was the bassist for
all right, I
the
play drums.
metal band
Okay,
that I played
we
in.
have a band. Tyler's going to sing.
You know what?
All right, we're starting a band.
Chuck is definitely a roadie. Like Chuck is
the groupie.
It's gonna be the comic
I'm a
creator
manager.
hanging out. I don't need that as a groupie. You're gonna be
He's
the
the
comic
groupie.
creator hanging out band. That's a better name for the band than that.
All right, we'll talk about our band later, but I cut Braden off. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, anyways, the story of Sever follows Chloe Williams, otherwise known as Ellipsis, who is an aspiring metal musician finishing up her last year of high school. She plays in her band with a misfit group of friends. A lot of this story actually is based off of actual conversations I've had with friends, and there's like a lot of deep dialogue I feel within it, and it's just yeah. So anyways, I'm going to continue with the so one day this all changes when Chloe's girlfriend and the recent drummer of the band, Marilyn Penhurst, returns to town. Normally, this wouldn't be that big of a problem, but in this case, Marilyn was declared dead 3 years earlier when her parents were in a fatal car crash and they couldn't recover Marilyn's body from the scene. Upon her arrival, seeming darkness looms over the town as Marilyn seems to have her own hidden agenda.
Boom, boom, boom.
Okay. So, Brandon, one of the things I want you to, because you and Tyler are here, and this is a rare thing, can you guys talk about Insane Comics? You guys are both published under it's Insane,
Braden,
right?
anytime
man.
people always want to know about Insane Comics.
Oh my gosh, I was actually in the first starting line of the first wave of books that Insane first published. It's
It's been
Reclaiming
like
Godhood.
7 years now. It's been like 4 or 5 years now.
God, so long now. And I noticed that someone asked if I had any other Kickstarters or any other books. So yes, Reclaiming Godhood is my other series that I would prefer to, not talk about.
except the crossover you did with Frank Martin.
Modern Godhood is dope.
Another Insane Comics person.
Yeah. Modern Godhood is awesome. But yeah, I was in the first wave of books. It was Modern Testament with Frank Martin, my Reclaiming Godhood #1, and then Kelly Bender's Sadistic.
Yeah, Sadistic or Snarl.
And then it was a flip book with James Munch's book, I forgot.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but those were the first 4 books that were released with Insane, and then there was a whole bunch of other people brought in. I think Tyler came in right as I left. I left mainly because I didn't think Reclaiming Godhood was my first series. It was my first time doing comics, and I just couldn't keep up with the whole. It's expensive to fund books.
With Insane Comics, what kind of he was James? He did a great job of promoting at cons. He went to so many cons. One of the things that was kind of intense was there was a every 2 months he released new books, and not all the creators could do that. So I was one of the creators that could. So I released Demons, and every 2 months, a new issue came out. And then same with Hollow Girl, a new Hollow Girl came out. And then there was
Dawn was pretty good about it too, if I remember right.
Yeah, there were some steady books, and the steadier books, the more issues, they started getting a little more popular. Sure. But then what would happen is, instead of focusing just on those 4 or 5 steady titles, that he would then bring on 10 more books, and then 10 more books, and he just kept bringing on all these books. And then soon, your book that's on issue, now there's all these #1s of these new series, and they all were released on the same day. And it was really hard to get that promotion. And then, for me with Demons, we were on issue 12, and the series ended at issue 14. And all of a sudden, we get an email that says Insane's over. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I had someone message me hey, I haven't gotten my new, because you could order through the website, and he'd send you the copies. And so one customer was like, hey, what do I do? It's on issue 12. There's 2 more issues. I'm like, yeah. And he didn't give us any of the customer information.
Right.
So that's when I jumped over to Kickstarter and did volume 1 and then volume 2 and volume 3. But essentially, once he said it's over, all of us had to rebuild our fan bases off of our series.
Yeah.
And that sucked, because I would get the royalty reports on Demons, and I would have 100 to 150 people every 2 months buying that book. And that's who awesome. Those people are, mystery, is a mystery, and I don't know, they probably never found out what happened at the end.
Joshua, do you remember Insane Comics?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I feel like I need to have a better answer to that. But
no, that is an honest answer. I'd rather honesty.
I've brought the room down.
You maybe remember them if you saw their logo.
Here's one thing that's great about Insane that I will never forget though with Insane Comics is my last semester at college. My academic advisor was like, "Hey, looks like you got lucky with not having to do a math credit, so you can graduate." Because my math is so bad that I had to do 7 years worth of math classes to get the college credit. And I was like, this is stupid. I'm stupid. I won't be able to do this. And she's like, and I got in with I got my math credit waived through a fluke. And then she said, "Hey, you did your internship credit, right?" And I was like, "Internship credit?" And so I messaged James C. Munch and the Insane Guy, and I said, "Hey, if I post on your social media, on the Insane social media, will you sign my internship papers?" And he said, "Yeah." So I was able to graduate because every single week I was like, "Hey, James, can you sign this?" And he'd sign it and then message me back.
Okay, Russell, you need to make the Insane Comics book because this story is getting better and better. There's so much going on with it.
I really like
There's so many people that were part of it too. It's crazy.
Yeah, that hadn't
like Kelly
been on my
Bender.
radar, but-
Kelly Bender worked on like Assassin's Creed, Odyssey. He now like does some other stuff for video games. There was a lot of people.
Yeah, he's like,
Man of
working
Sin
for Ubisoft.
was on Insane. A lot of people were in Insane.
All right, so
Garrett Gunn, who's currently suing Epic Games.
Right. Yeah, there was a lot of people. So quick question for Joshua before we go on, because again, this is a comic chat, so I'd like to ask publishers. So I've seen this continuously with publishers having the same problem that Tyler just talked about, right? They start out really strong, they get 4 or 5 good titles, like they have a good first year. Year 2, it's the year of the issue ones, right? Like there's like 4 issue ones every month, and then most of them don't get issue 2s, or they get issue 2s several late. They just kind of flood the market, and then they kind of disappear. What do you think causes that trend? Do you think it's just like they think they got it, or what do you think?
I think it's an underestimating. It is a big difference. I'm still stuck on this Insane Comics. I'm actually like flicking through every book they published to see if there's anything here I recognize, and saying like, well, how did I never hear of any of this? I feel I'm turning in my comic book reader card.
Yeah, I think Insane Comics, the only people who know about it is Kickstarter creators. They're like, oh, they all did all of our Kickstarter creators. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I think, and I can say honestly, because Red 5 definitely has done some of this, not as much that some of it is the transition from preparing to launch to now you have launched and you have a pipeline that you have to keep flowing and keeping it flowing. Like before you've put out your first books, you have time. You can be like, all right, we're getting this together. We're going to have all of these issues done and all these issues. We've got 4 series ready to go. We're going to wait until they're all ready to go. And we're going to go through and actually put this out and start to have and have books on the market. And you can go through the launch period. But then once you're out, especially once you have gone through the process of getting regularly into retail stores, getting into Diamond and or other distributors, when Red 5 started, it was pretty much getting into Diamond. And offering out material on an ongoing basis. Now you're like, all right, now there is a beast that has to be fed, and we have to keep up the continuous creation of comics, which is very, very difficult for everyone involved, and there are always lapses. And when you're going through that first period, you probably underestimate how much stuff didn't quite come in on time, or there was a road bump here or road there, because you didn't really have a deadline. You weren't really putting everything out. But then once you've started, you can't stop. Right. It is very easy for retailers to say, good to see you, Ben. Hey, we've been pumping out carriers while we're here, and everybody check that out. But it's very easy for, if you're not putting out, as a publisher, if you're not putting out material and product regularly, for retailers to kind of forget about you and move on to the next thing. Because they have, I mean, if you look through previews, there's hundreds and hundreds of books in there every month, and retailers got to go through all of those. They have X amount of time that they have to devote to that to figure out what they're going to carry. And if you're not in front of their face all the time, they're like, well, I've got to move on to the next thing. So you've got to have material every month. So now you might start stocking that pipeline faster than you can actually get a book out, and not really managing it. And you're like, all right, instead of spreading out my titles for the whole year in a way that's manageable, I'm going to launch all my number ones this month. Great. And I got 4 number ones, and I've got 4 books this month, which is great. But all of a sudden things start to come really quickly. Things start to come in late. One of the hardest lessons every publisher learns real early on is never solicit a book until it is done, or until a lot of it is done. And every time you break that rule, and every time we have broken that rule, we have come to regret it. But there's especially, you don't usually learn that rule until you've done it for the first time, and it's like right. that second year is it kicks everybody in the ass. We're like, all right, this is where we start learning those hard lessons that maybe we lucked out of not facing the first year, but they're impossible to avoid.
Right. Russell, go ahead and say your comment and explain it a little bit better.
Well, I think a lot of the problem with, like new indie creators, trying to start out publishing different genres of books, they throw out a bunch of number ones. You see this, publisher come out of nowhere and they're like, oh, we're going to release this, and this year. And, like me, I didn't come out of the gates with like 80 different books or, trying to jump on different things. I went with my passion. I've wrote other stories. I've never published them, but I wanted to concentrate on this, focus this. I talked about this for a year. I built up popularity for it before I kickstarted it. But you get these publishers or these indie creators that start these companies. They come in with 5 or 6 books to try to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks with the crowds to try to build a bigger fan base from the start. But then once the number ones come out, none of them really take off. None of them really garner the following they're looking for. And so they lose sight of those books and try to move on to something else. I mean, you see it all the time where these people come out, they're like, I'm going to make this. And, they set up a show with me and they're getting ready to kickstart it. And then they fall off the face of the earth. I messaged them like, hey, are we still good for the show in a few weeks? And I did no reply. Their Kickstarter disappears off a Kickstarter. The pre-launch is gone and I never hear from them again. So I just fill the spot. But, I think a lot of problems people lose focus is focus on your passion at first. Garner a fan base from your people on your passion book and then try to fan out from there once you get moving at a good pace and you get an idea of how the world moves.
Yeah, it's set realistic goals. Like Braden's Kickstarter is a very realistic goal. He set one that he could reach. A short series might help, a one shot. I've definitely made that mistake in the past. Here's my 37 issue epic series, and it gets away from you. When you don't have all the resources of a bigger publisher. So yeah, you got to be realistic.
Or you have
Who
one
here-
issue with 79 covers.
Yeah. Who here made their first thing that they ever wrote, that they ever created, ended up being like this incredibly long, giant epic that was far too ambitious. So they should, if they could go back and do it, they'd make it much shorter because it shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
I've
actually thought about doing that with Reclaiming Godhood. Is just taking it and then like making just like a volume 1 and then just wrapping it up so that it's done.
Right. Yeah, I think most people are that, and I think it's our age group too, right? When we grew up, we were reading, Preacher, these long epics, or Sandman, these long epics. So that's what we're like. We want to be that, but we don't remember that they did a whole bunch of other really small things before they got to that.
Right.
Right. We just remember them for their big thing. But Brett, he stays consistent. He talks about his Dust Mafia bunny things. I don't know. Is there even a bunny that's dust? Because most of them are random animals. I mean, I feel you're selling a bill of goods is what they say. Right, Chuck? That's what they say, right? You're an editor.
That's what they say.
The whole first family is dust bunnies. And I can grab a book in a second, but
you're good. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yes, I have introduced other characters, like my new Kickstarter, but it all stems from the original comic, which actually, it was my first comic, and I am still writing it, and I'm doing spin-offs, but for the most part, I actually have no plans on discontinuing that in the future. So, unlike the big epics that other people are talking about.
Now you're not live yet, right? You're still you're still to the next week, right?
No, about 2 hours, and I'll be live.
2 hours. All right.
Thinking
I
on
don't
at
think we'll be
midnight.
live then, hopefully, but you never know.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting for this to be like a launch party or anything. So,
Well, then just hit launch. Why do you got to wait for that? We got people here who'd love to see it.
I was originally saying I'd launch on Thursday, but
Well, I mean, if you're going to launch in 2 hours, what's now? Just hit that launch button. You've done it before. This is not new.
At least hit us with
It's
the
Thursday
pre-launch
somewhere.
link.
Right.
It's Thursday somewhere.
Yeah,
It's going to be Thursday.
In England,
It'll be
it's
Thursday
Thursday.
pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have some people in Australia looking for it. So
Peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't got to do it. I'm just saying that, what's the point of waiting? That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying the real mafia would do it. What the fuck's your problem?
Does the real mafia have rules like, oh, we have to do it at this time? No, if you see a good opportunity to take the hit, take the hit. That's what I hear. Dave Galliano says, do it.
Terrible.
And Danny, if he's still here, is looking for places to back. See, doesn't have a retail tier. Danny's looking. He may not be looking 2 hours from now, Brett. I'm just saying.
Does it have a retail tier there, Brett?
So John has passed his show's goal. Grats.
Awesome.
John.
Thanks to the 3 backers.
How many books should be in a good series? 3 or 4?
Four's good. Four's a good number.
Four is a good,
really
solid
good
number. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think that is? Because I know a lot of like Marvel and DC have gone to 5. But growing up, it was always the 4-issue miniseries, right?
Yeah.
So the issues were longer now to get to a decent sized trade where you can actually have a
maybe
spine.
it's because of the 20-page count and
the little
that extra
baby.
2 pages or 4 pages. Because I remember Chuck and I are both X-Men fans. You would have the main X-Men, you'd have Uncanny X-Men, and then you'd have Iceman 4-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
Wolverine and Venom, Wolverine and
Wolverine and Gambit.
Yeah.
And they weren't written for the trade then. They were just written for the shelves. So yeah.
Carl says 6 make a better trade, and Carl.
I guess it would depend on how long the books are. Like my Sever books, they're going to be a 3-part miniseries, but each book is going to be like the next book is going to be about 40 pages probably, compared to and they're probably going to be get bigger as they go on.
I would say a trade you want between 70 and 90 pages.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I feel you need 100. Like for me, I don't know why I feel you need 100 pages for a trade.
Yeah.
Like I feel that's a good trade.
Right at 108. Once you get all your credit pages and everything else. Right, 108 is like a good sweet spot.
You got to have that cover gallery because everyone needs to see a cover gallery.
I don't know. You got like the Common America guys. Have you guys checked out those books?
You're saying a lot of words like that looks like anime. I don't know anything about this.
It's a Common America. It's by Tim Lin, Mark Pellegrini. It's an awesome comic. They just
is that Antarctic Press? It looks like Antarctic Press.
They do their Kickstarters and then they put it on Iconic Comics, which is their online store, and then Antarctic Press will also then do a run.
Okay.
But their Common America 4 did $100,000 in 3 days.
Nice.
Dang. It's still going up. What? It's 72 pages, hardback, $10.
Nice.
Dang, that's a good that's a good buy.
Yeah, it's with where the balance is these days. So like I see Carl keep saying, and I will defer because he's got a lot of great experience.
Yeah, but he has Josh Whedon writing his books. He has more than.
Well, as just a reader, as a reading experience, I would agree. It's like 6 issues makes a really good reading experience for a trade where you get you've got enough space for character stuff or plot stuff for. Especially during that period in the 2000s when we really went trade heavy for that sort of decompressed storytelling, and you can have some room for art. You don't have to. You're not like fighting to get the entire story into the pages you can afford nowadays. Because the other thing is, you want like that $10 price point he's talking about for 72 pages is about right. That's what somebody would be willing to go into a store and pick it up at hardback too, and just pick it up and go. When you start to get to like $15 or $20, and it's like not unusual. I think Marvel trades now it's like $20, maybe more than $20 for 6 issues, something like that.
All your stuff is trade, right, Brett? He's muted.
Yeah, I know.
He wants to tell me about this thing, but we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about how it's trades, right?
Yeah, I do essentially trades. I mean, they're 132 pages roughly, but yeah, I compiled several years worth of strips. But yeah,
I find more and more though that I'm telling, because I'll have clients come to me and say, hey, should I do a 6-issue series? Should I do a 4 or 5? How many should I do? And I'll tell them over and over, what does your story say? Yes. Because it doesn't stop telling me I'm gonna do 6 issues. Can you do 6 issues? Can this story fit into 6 issues? Will it actually be interesting, or are you going to have to add a bunch of crap in there that then people will fall off because
Like,
they're,
why does
they're
it need to
tired
be
of
6 issues?
exactly.
Just for the fun number of it's doing a 6-issue miniseries. Like,
Yeah.
why?
But Belial is specifically 4 issues because that is exactly how much story is in that story to tell. I could certainly try to turn it into 5, but it really would feel like I'm watering it down and I'm stretching it, and I'm not interested in that. So I think it really is also about just really outlining your story, feeling it out, knowing where it goes, and knowing, hey, how will this best fit? How many issues will it fit?
Right.
Yeah, no, that's what's ultimately most important. But yeah, when you have the opportunity, if you want a nice little thing for your shelf, like I said, my 2 trades were obnoxiously huge because I just kept running the story and running and then just printed it all at once. So, everybody does it different. But if you do want that nice little package, 80 to 90.
I'm just like on the publisher's side. It's a lot of it is practicality. I mean, in a perfect world, you can just sit and say, how long does it take to do it, and just do it that way. But then it's sort of like, how are you going to turn? I know it sounds terrible when we're talking about you are talking about stories and art, but you're also talking about a product, and what are you going to do with that when you get it out into the world, and
There's a
how is that
balance.
going to react in the marketplace? So that, like, we just did Dark Age with 7 issues, and the trade for that's going to be almost 200 pages. But so it can be done, and we do like a wide variety of things. But I also tell everyone who comes in and they're like, well, I want to do this one thing. My story is 6 pages with a double-sided with a double-size payoff, because it's gonna have a big finale, and it's gonna be, so we're gonna end up having to do like 40 or 48 pages for the last issue. And I'm like, what it is, when you get out into the retail world, your sales trend is an inverted hockey stick. It goes like this. So the more issues you do, and the longer they are, especially towards the end, the more likely it is that you're not going to see a dime from the retail market, because you're going to see your sales drop off, to the point where it costs more to print than you're getting from wholesale by the time you have collectively gotten your 6-issue story in. And and I'm always like, and be careful about making your most expensive issue your last issue, because it's also going to be the one that's just the way it is. It's going to be the one that sells the least, unless you strike lightning, which can happen. And right. It's great when it does, but you don't want to bit your business plan, and you need a business plan, because it is a business. You don't want your business plan to rely on striking lightning. So it's get that balance and how yes. Perfect length. Like right now, I'm writing one that's 5 issues, and normally I try to write them as 4, but this one has to be 5 because it's not going to fit in 4, and it's just not going to be right. But I'm sitting there looking at that, going like, I know what the risk is that's going to be, and I'm willing to take that. But whenever I give someone advice, especially someone coming in with like 6 issues, and it's like, I want to do 3 series if it's 6 issues, I'm like, well, this is what the reality is. So just be prepared for that, especially if you are relying on sales of series 1 to pay for the art for series 2. This is the reality of what you're walking into.
That's great advice. I appreciate that.
All right, so we're going to go through the comments, and we're going to go back to Brent, and we're going to see his live book. We did peer pressure him. I'm all about peer pressure here.
You gave in, Brett. What are you doing?
Before I go to the comments, I have a comment for Josh about Josh. If we didn't want to hit lightning, why would we hire Chuck? We hired Chuck specifically to hit lightning. John, Braden, and myself. So what's the point? So you're saying we didn't need to hire Chuck? Like we could have just got rid of an issue and we would have been fine.
Yeah, that's all you need to do. You don't even have to rewrite. All you have to do is like pick an issue at random after it's already done and just remove it. It doesn't matter. It's still exactly the same. People don't read these things anyway, so just easy. No.
I guess we could always switch to Grammarly.
Or just go into your script after you've written it. So like, all right, this can only be 88 pages, and start randomly deleting pages, and then get it drawn. You probably be fine.
This is advice from a publisher, folks. So just
take it down.
All right, so let's look at these comments. Josh insisted on 8 for ours, and I remember Scott Alley wanted to do 6 or 12, but he wouldn't budge. So apparently, if your last name is Whedon and you've created a whole bunch of other things, you can do whatever the hell you want. John. The only 2 times I was fortunate to get a trade, they were 160 and 290. So that's what I do as well.
Wow.
Those are drastically different numbers, John.
Yeah, I was a
Yeah,
young fool.
those are huge.
Let me tell you, those move real good.
Yeah.
When they're
Oh,
clean
my
up
first trade. My first trade was for 244 pages, and if I could go back in time and punch my younger self in the face and tell,
right.
don't do that. Don't. I don't care about your precious art or your
Right.
Don't do that.
Red 5 has 3-issue series and 5-issue. Both do well for us. Same with Scout. Yeah. I actually like the little 3-issue quick done ish series. Those are refreshing when they come.
For sure.
And David said, so true. And I assume it was talking about trades, but it could be about Chuck striking lightning. It could be either one.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, right. By the way, I like the emo thing. I like it. I like what.
Thank you. The hair, yeah.
We
all
get
right.
it. You have nice hair, Chuck.
So,
I was bald a year ago. It just
all right. So I guess we're gonna share something. I don't know. I'm gonna share whatever this is. Hopefully, it's appropriate for the internet and I don't get banned. This could be just a big con from Brad. He does like mafia stuff.
appropriate for the internet. That's hilarious.
Appropriate for the internet.
Considering
Yes.
the rest of these guys that I'm with.
So what is this, Brett? What am I looking at?
So,
Is this manga? Because only Tyler's here to promote manga.
Oh, this is not manga.
Well, Sever's pretty manga influenced.
These are a spin-off of my Dust Bunny Mafia, in which I take mobsters that have animal nicknames and reimagine them as their animal counterparts. So I read a lot of true crime, just originally as a hobby, and then as I started doing my comic, I realized that I could take pieces of some of these stories and actually convert them into comics and kind of teach people some history and actually make history interesting. And so a couple of years ago, I started Kickstarters with my based on a true story, and out of that, I did a little a zine called Mobbable Chicago, because I moved to Chicago and it made a lot of sense to try and bring something to the Chicago market because people know all in the area. Everyone thinks of Chicago and gangsters and they think of Al Capone, but there were literally hundreds of other gangsters that are more prominent and had more interesting stories and lifestyles than just Capone did. And so I found and kind of wanted to do this like profile of some different people that had mobster nicknames that were animal related. So I turned them into their animal characters and then started incorporating them in my based on a true story series. And then I felt that now, after having 3 successful Kickstarters with the based on a true story, it was time to kind of revisit it. And before I went with a big book with all these characters, I decided, let's do something different. Let's do these trading cards and make them like the old sports cards, where you have a nice photography on the front, and then facts or stats about the sports players on the back. And so that's what I did essentially with these. And so they're trading cards, same size as like your Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, anything like that. But they're all real life mobsters that have animal nicknames. And on the back, I feature facts about those mobsters.
So is this guy in the book? This guy in the hat?
He's in there somewhere.
And this is in the Dust Bunny Mafia like collection. This is the what Kickstarter? The 6th?
Yes, this would be my 6th Kickstarter.
Okay.
And so it's the so it still ties into the Dust Bunny Mafia world, and it's not just like a tangent. It's fully integrated, and the characters do show up in the comics and everything. So.
And I assume your stretch goal is going to be more cards, right? Adding new cards as we go.
I have some other things planned. There may be a new card or two.
Okay.
But I
We just
plan
have to spend a lot of
on.
money to find out.
Yeah. So the plan is, currently there are 15 cards in this pack, and it's a booster pack like the old, sports cards or, anything like that. And, but
it's a set number of cards. Like you're going to get the same
really
stuff in the
cool.
packs, right?
yes.
Okay.
So they're all going to contain the same characters, the same, 15, 16, however many cards I end up going with. But if, depending on stretch goals, there might be,
I don't want to share my credit card information, so I'll do that.
Oh crap! How am I
Well, limited
supposed
edition.
now?
extra character
So
or two.
close. So close. So
So
close.
I gotta ask, who are you printing cards through? I ask mainly because I'm actually in the process of developing a trading card game, kind of like Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Pokemon.
Mhm.
I just have to ask, who are you printing through? Because I haven't been able to find anyone that does packs. That's really cool.
That is really cool, but I think Brett froze.
Oh, he probably did. Thanks.
But look at him. He looks so
He's
so
so
charming.
relaxed.
That's a good picture.
He's
right?
so relaxed.
Maybe he hasn't frozen. Maybe he's just holding that pose.
Maybe that's what he's
Trying to
doing.
He's just that good.
We got some notes here. David says, I personally have a hard time buying one shots, especially if they're not from existing properties. I've actually heard that one shots are very bad sellers on the direct market, like through Diamond and stuff. One
It's
shots.
so interesting because I feel like especially for indie stuff, or if I go in like Chicago Comics or Quimby's, these great indie booksellers, I'm if it says one and done, I'm more likely to pick it up. But maybe that's not true.
One-shot Kickstarters do really good too. Like Frank does really good with a lot of his one-shots and his little 1 to 2 his two-parters.
Yeah. I guess everybody's different, but they
are harder
removed-
to repackage for the direct market. One thing, Diamond has not really enforced it a lot in recent years. They used to have sort of a rule of you need 3 issues worth of material. You need 3 months worth of material for anything new that you're going to put out, or we're not going to carry it. They're a lot looser about that now. One thing we're seeing a lot of, and we've been kind of experimenting, is doing one-shots, but packaging them in ways that you get a sense of a high amount of value, kind of really similar to what DC has done with like the Black Label line. So
Right.
larger page counts, 48 pages, 64 pages. So realistically taking maybe 2-3 issues worth of material and compacting it into something a little less than a trade, a little cheaper than a trade, so maybe like $7 or $8. Making it oversized, so you're looking at like maybe 8x11 or 9x10 or something like that. So and give it like a big premium, a thin spine and a premium feel with a slightly. And even though it's got a higher price point, people will go for it. At least so far, it's still sort of an experiment that we're running, but I've seen that work.
You need to be charging for this advice.
I should be.
You should be on Patreon.
What am I doing?
Brady wants to carry some, Brett. So
So since Brett, I don't know if Brett heard anything before he
I
froze.
heard the question. I just couldn't respond to anyone.
Oh, okay.
So I go through makeplayingcards.com.
Okay.
And so they're US based for at least some of their facility, but I know they do print overseas. But I actually, so I'm getting this pack made through them, and specifically I know it's the booster pack specifically.
Nice.
That is kind of what they're outsourcing, is the main part. But since it's sealed, I'm sure they just print it all over there. And then I also had them do my full deck of cards. So when I did a deck of poker cards earlier this year, they did that, and I'm really happy with what they did with the price and everything. So
A buddy of mine just printed these Magic the Gathering tokens through them, and the quality is insane.
I printed some Magic the Gathering tokens through them too. But I didn't know that they did like booster packs and stuff. I'll have to look back into that because that's really cool.
That is cool.
By the way, I do see people backstage. We will get to everybody, but like I said earlier, if you were here on other things, new people get priority. Just for the record. But yeah, we'll get Sean on next, and then Ed is back there as well, trying to get on. Oh, I can get everyone. Look at that. All right, we'll figure that out later. We'll introduce all of you guys. But yeah, so Brett, so now you were in our little challenge here. Let's try to get you the mobiles. Is that how we're supposed to say it?
Mobimals. So mob animals put together.
Mobiles?
Yeah, close enough.
Can you sing it in a jingle to help me understand a bit? All right, so we're going to try to get him to 10 backers. So he's going to try to get 5. Where are we at with you, John? You hit your goal, but where are you at? You haven't changed? Anything changed?
I was at 36 last I checked, so I'm doing well. I appreciate it.
Okay.
And if you got too many in here, I'm happy to jump off if other people want me to stop yakking.
No, we're good for right now. I'm at 167 still, and are you still the same, Braden?
It looks like someone bought a retailer perk. So
Danny
I'm at
has shown some
63.
support. Yeah, no, awesome. That's what it's all about, is helping move people forward. And again, order the box. Back Tyler's Patreon. Tyler, has anybody given you $2 a month yet?
No, they haven't.
Look, here. I'm gonna hold on. Listen, people. Listen.
Uh-oh, serious.
This is Tyler effing Carpenter. He has already abandoned us for manga. He's going to abandon us completely if you don't show a little support. You don't want that. Tyler's good for the community. He just deleted his whole YouTube. He's deleted Kickstarters. He's willing to, he'll cancel his Patreon if you can't give him a couple of bucks a month. Seriously, you need to show support. I'm begging you people. I'm not going to make another broke down book until he gets to, how many at, Tyler? Hold on. How many at? I'm taking this very serious, Tyler. What are you at?
I'm at 42.
42. So if he doesn't get to 45, I am not creating another. And he's kidding. Look, he's got a knife. He has a knife.
All right, we got one.
Hey! I had to drop one in there.
I'm just saying, I don't want to have to stop making comics because
I need to read the next issue, so I had to get in there and back that thing.
Okay, all right.
Hey, all right.
Listen, y'all, if you don't back Tyler, we're going to hire the whole mob of the 15 mobimals, and they're going to pop a cap in your ass.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Well, I appreciate that. Is Tyler the artist on the book I'm thinking of? What book are you thinking
Yes.
of?
Yes. And the only way you'll find out is if you back his
whatever
Patreon.
book it is, that's why you want to back it.
Yeah, he has a $50 pledge, and that's all of his stuff. So you won't know if it's in there. And that's $50 a month, by the way. You only get revealed to his catalog a little bit each month.
Oh man, I wish I had a $50 tier. That'd be cool.
No, so Tyler, for me, stuff because Danny knows my work very well. He did the backup in issue 3 for Broke Down, which is one of my favorite backups. I have the original art hanging on my wall. He also did 4 pages in Cthulhu Invades Oz.
My best comic book art ever.
It is very good. In fact, I saw your Yellow King art done by Stan Yak earlier this week.
He was also in a Kickstarter last month.
I'm also the debut artist of Rhinella. Did I say
well,
that
that's
right,
what
Chuck?
I was gonna say. He Brunella, yes. He was in the collective. Danny, which is your book. Danny.
Yeah, Danny. I'm in your book.
Danny.
And I'll be waiting for my royalties. No, I don't know. We took care of that. But I was so honored to be the debut artist for Wendy, because Wendy's awesome, and
Wendy. Woo.
I have a love affair with Wendy that Chuck just has to live with.
Dealing with it.
You've had a long career. Are you like 60 years
Don't hurt her.
I did think your son looked familiar, but I just didn't want to say it.
But that's Wendy. Oh man!
Come on, guys. Danny's like,
Come on.
that's what I'm thinking of.
And something happened where I did not get the memo on the Wonderland one. I don't know what happened.
It's not live yet.
I don't know what I'm talking about then. These things don't exist.
Danny, Patreon /Drawn Talk, right?
Yep.
Oh, can we fly him out? Yes, we can fly. Can we fly you out, Tyler?
You can fly me out whenever, man.
Yeah.
You pay for it, I'm there.
Catch is you have to pay.
Everyone here who's not in
That's
Florida is like, so you're in Orlando? I've heard good things about that place. Like, yeah, we'll fly out.
Actually, I'm going to be up your way, Tyler, in December.
Oh, really? Where?
Yeah, we're going. Well, I don't know where exactly. We're going to Seattle for Emerald City, and our stopover is going to be in Utah.
Well, you let me know what part of Utah, and if it's close,
We'll try to make it close. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's in the Salt Lake area, I'll drive up to see you.
We'll see what we can do.
We don't have the time here, but Tyler came out to visit me, and he should have stayed for dinner because I invited him, and apparently,
and I really regret it.
He had the best Wendy's experience. It was Wendy's or Arby's?
It was KFC.
KFC.
Yeah, it was such a bad experience. I was like, he should have eaten with Travis.
Can you tell a 1 minute version of that story?
Yeah, I took Travis to the restaurant, and I'm like, hey, I got to get home. And on my way home, I was like, you know what? Let me just get some quick food. Went to KFC, and there was one employee in there. Everything was broken. She was crying, and I was there for like 45 minutes because I was
I remember you telling me.
I was so determined to get my fried chicken, and the guy in front of me was like yelling at her. But when it was time for her to order, she's like, how can I help you? And I was like, hey, just take like 10 minutes. It's just you and me. Take a break. Take a break.
And the guy yelling at her worked for Insane Comics. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, Danny, so they're inviting you down to October 23rd. They're having a signing for the Tales of the Collective book, October 23rd.
Do you hit me up and we'll figure out something.
Hit it in the DMs. Hit him in the DMs.
Wow.
Or something. But Tyler, yeah, we can figure that out. Tyler can stay with me too if he wants to. If he
There
needs
we go.
to stay, we can figure it out. Anyways, so next, Sean and Ed, we're gonna have you give a 30-second pitch. So 30-second pitch of your stuff, just to let you know you're out. We're gonna start with Ed since his mic is open. Go ahead, Ed.
All right, so I'm selling right now on Kickstarter the 5th issue of Immortal Era. It's a book that takes place 200 years in the future in a post-apocalyptic world where humans can no longer die. It centers on 4 underground dwellers who are forced to live there because they're not considered legal citizens. We're on a quest to restore the natural life cycle and save humanity by killing them.
All right. Yeah, it's a fifth issue of the series. Danny, take a look at that one. That is one I want to consider for Tales of the Collective. Not putting you on the spot and saying it out loud, but I just did. You're welcome. And Sean, look, Sean has a face. I'm going to show that. Look at this. Look, he's got a face. Look at that. Tell us about the bar.
Only if you zoom out. Thanks for that. So the bar is a brand new series. It's kind of like a Tales from the Crypt meets Law and Order, in that the backdrop is the same every time you walk into the bar. You tell your story. Bartender kind of acts like an instrument of justice, honestly. Sometimes he's there to listen. Sometimes he's kind of there to judge you. So I think the bar can exist in any city, right? You could be walking in Chicago and enter the bar or see it. You could be in Atlanta and see the bar. I think the people that kind of are meant to see it, right? So there's kind of a bit of a mystical intrigue, like a pull. If you've done something wrong or you've just had a hard time, something's happened that's kind of traumatic or dramatic, I think probably you're going to see the bar and you're going to enter it. And as the reader, every new issue is a new story.
Nice. Ed's going to be taken off, by the way, because Ed has dinner tonight, and he's been doing these streams like I see him nightly, so no problem. But thanks for stopping by. Make sure you check out Immortal Era. It's one of my favorite books. I've backed it for a long time. But
Well, thank you. I always appreciate that. When someone I love reading actually reads my book, makes me happy.
Ed, can you go in the chat and give links to Danny? He says, gimme.
Absolutely.
Same thing with
I
the
will.
bar. Give him links. Bar is only $80 from funding, I just saw.
Oh,
So
man, it's so close.
we are very close. So let's get that to
Congrats.
where it needs to go. Back to the bar looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
looking forward to that one.
Thank you, Wendy.
Right. So here, I can actually bring it up because I still have my stream up real quick. Let's see. No. Yep. Is that you guys see it? Yeah. Oh, I guess I
Okay.
can't.
Well, I got to go handle dinner. Thanks for having me on here, just for a quick little drop. And I saw the link. I'm like, I can't resist that. We have like the 15-minute simmer going on, and the kids are working in the background, but I must feed those children. So, thank you for having me in again. I always appreciate it.
Ed, always good to see you. All right, let's go to Chuck. Is he there? Is he just hidden? What's going on?
I'm kind of afraid why he turned off his camera.
Chuck's like, Project 1, this is it. Project 2, and Project 3.
This is going to be a long one. Strap in.
I'm ready, brother. The only person I always get called the hardest working man in comics, and I always laugh because I think of Chuck that he doesn't get that title.
Yeah, right. It's because editors don't actually do anything.
I wasn't going to say it, but that's probably true.
Fair. It's fair.
Why? This is why you should stick with Grammarly.
That's starting to be the best in joke. That's like the T-shirt for this chat.
Right?
Grammarly, edited by Grammarly.
Sorry, did you ask me a question? Because I wasn't even here.
You're up, buddy.
You're up, buddy.
Okay. What?
Tell us what's going on.
So
he was just editing a book in the background.
I was, yeah. Well, so the three that I'm working on right now are all here, and that is Expired, Sever, and Depowered, which just started today. And then I have a couple more coming up very soon that you can follow. Eric Cockrell's Blister is dropping in about a week or two, and Leanne Ingino's Fang is coming as well. So I've always got things happening.
That is amazing. And
Thank you.
Tell us about Dallas, since I heard the story, but they would love the enlightened tale of how good Dallas. Josh was telling me how he didn't make it to Dallas, so he needs to know because he lives in Texas. He could have actually.
I could have been.
And Sean, did you see that message from Danny? Hold on.
Yeah, I just replied.
All right, make that happen.
It can't happen.
Dallas was the best show we've ever done. It was excellent. We did absolutely amazing. Had just a wonderful time. 3 days of me, my wife, and Chris Madd all stuck in an apartment together. Absolutely.
Oh, man, I got pictures of that too.
You did get pictures of that. It was a wonderful time. Honestly, I have this thing. I was saying it to people earlier. I have FOMO. I hate leaving my table, and that all stems from my very second com. My boss. That's when I was still working as a cook, and my boss had said, "Hey, could you leave the show a couple hours early to come close up the kitchen?" And I said, "Of course I can do that." And I did that, and then I got a message from my table mate that night, and what had happened was Jason Momoa was only in town for a day, and so in the last hour of the show, he went up and down all of the aisles and visited and bought from everyone's table. And I was just like, this is bullshit. I have to be there. And so now I've just got it in my head, like, I always have to be there.
Right.
And actually, Josh, I met you at Comic Palooza. And while I was at Comic Palooza this year, my back was hurting. I had to go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, and I had just brought my novel Essence House. That was the first show it was going to be at. And I had prepared this wonderful speech for everybody about, for the first person who bought the book, I was like, oh, thank you so much. You're the first person to buy this book. And I was just going to say all this wonderful stuff and how much I appreciate them and all that stuff. I go to the bathroom, I come back, and the guys are like, hey, man, we just sold Essence House. And I was like, you what? You fucking what? What did you do? And so they were the first ones to sell my novel. Like, I wasn't even the first one to sell my novel. And I was so pissed that after that, I was like, yeah, that's my book. Whatever. I wasn't actually, right, I don't care. No, actually, I mean, obviously I was positive because you don't have a choice. But holy crap, was I so annoyed at that. So I was at my table, like, most of the, like, almost the entire time at Dallas. And actually, I had two really cool moments. One was with Rags Morales, which was really cool. And then the other was with Matt Hawkins, who Matt was the basically the section where people were going to get to the stage was kind of right across from us, and so he came out, and because of the crowd, he kind of got ushered almost to my table. So I stood up and I'm like, Matt Hawkins, nice to see you. And he's like, oh, hey. And so we just started talking there at my table. And the funny thing was my wife had come with us that weekend. She doesn't usually show up for the long weekends, but she had come up because it was her birthday weekend. Her birthday's tomorrow. And so I had done she loves Witchblade. So I did a Witchblade birthday this year. She got Witchblade #1 signed by like Mike Turner, D-Tron, Dave Wall. She got like all the, she got a bunch of Witchblade stuff. Chris Mad was really sweet and drew her a Witchblade print, like just all this stuff. And so I told Matt Hawkins how much my wife loved his stuff, and what his company did. And dude goes, just a sec, runs off to his table and comes back, and he's got the Witchblade #1 25th anniversary edition, and he's got a little pin for it. And he's like, tell her I said happy birthday. And I was like, holy crap. And she was gone from the table having a smoke at that time. And I was like, that is why you stay at the table, woman. So,
Chuck, I have a funny story. You know how you read 2100 AD, right?
Pardon me?
Chuck, do you remember you did a review for 2100 AD?
I believe I did, yeah.
Yeah. Funny thing, I sent that to Matt Hawkins during the pandemic, and he liked it. He actually replied to me that just that he liked the book and everything, and it was like maybe a month or two into COVID. So, I mean, no one was trying to do anything at that time or whatever. But, dude, there couldn't be a nicer guy, right? Matt Hawkins is, yeah.
Such a good dude.
Wendy said he'd get a chat with Matt Hawkins.
Yes. Because I told her, I said, you should probably go say thank you. And she's like, yes, I'm going to.
All right. So we just got a retail package for Sean. So we're doing great there. Brett's talking to Danny as well. So we're doing great. Danny's been our MVP. So I appreciate you, Danny. We do. Everyone should
greatly appreciate you.
So we've got
Danny's going broke. Help him out, people.
Even Red 5, they just get a big shipment of Red 5 stuff. We need to add Red 5 to the banner, though. They have an indie banner, Josh, in Red 5.
Okay.
Isn't in that banner. So we just need a local guy in there who comes on a regular basis to have a logo up there. Maybe you can move to Orlando with your family and be that guy.
I'll ask them and see if they'll go for it.
You can get year passes at Disney.
That's what I hear. That might be the kids are little, so that might actually be the deal maker.
Same amount of COVID, though. Same amount of COVID.
Florida, Texas. I mean, it's at this point in time.
Oh, apparently we share a birthday with. Wait, Jerome's didn't. I didn't know it was your birthday, Jerome. I would have bought you something. All right. I was chatting with eBay's. Getting a special order for Greg Home, never before offered cover as a print. Oh, okay. Danny said we would get that banner updated.
All right.
It pays to talk to people. And speaking of people it pays to talk to, Russell told us the whole story of all the people he's talked to get Rush Explosion and his book out. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Oh, why did you say that today when I asked? Okay, we got to pause again. This time I got to yell at Jerome. All right. So Jerome is part of the Orange Cone team. And I go, hey, do you want to meet up tomorrow? And instead of, it's the first week he's like, no, bro, I can't make that happen. And he's never said that before. And then I find out that it's birthday. Instead of saying, hey, man, it's my birthday tomorrow. Like, we could have done something special. Like, we didn't have to have a meeting. Poor guy. All right. If Red 5 makes any cardboard standees for books, we are willing to beta test. Have you guys made any of those?
I have. I've had like a prototype made, basically for us to get an idea of what would it cost to make them and how many could we make. So at the moment there is one, and we have not punched ticket on making a bunch of them.
And I think Jen should get that one. I think
yeah. Well, she's right here, and she's been a big booster. But Danny, definitely, we make more than one. Yes, Because there's been a couple of different retailers we've talked to about it. I've just been like putting off how much do we want to sink in making them, but I really want one just so I can look, it's a Red 5 cardboard standee.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good behind you, right? When you have these
Yes,
things, you just set it up real quick.
Look, it looks like we're a real company doing real things.
I think a bunch of long boxes are a show of good company.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Russell.
They're full of rocks, but you
have a lot of things going on. So let's pick 5 out of the 147. All right. Come on, Russell. Tell us what's up.
So right now, like I said, I just wrote a story for Wendy Steen Shaner's anthology that'll be releasing in October. And if she's not able to get everything finished and released in October, it'll be releasing at the first of the year. I do currently have book 2 of Zen on Anti-Titan ready to go. I ran into some hiccups. I haven't been able to get the art due to some family stuff that's going on. My family got hit by a drunk driver while I was at work last month. And so all of our money went into that because they didn't have insurance. So unfortunately, I'm the type of person that brings a finished project to the table. I want you guys to know that the story is done, the editing's done, the proof is done, the art is done, everything's ready to go. As soon as the money gets to me, the book's being printed and it's being shipped out. I funded in March. This book 1 shipped in July. This is available now on my website, so please check it out. The pitch of this is Raziel is a family man. He gets called back to work from leave. An accident happens, casting him off in the far reaches of space. It's a story of inspiration. Can he make it back to his family? Is his family still alive? Does the Earth even still exist? He doesn't know. So this is the story of him facing adversity and, trying just to get back to his family. So book 2, I'm excited to get that out. Like I said before, it's a 900-page story. I found a really good place to stop in here. It was funny. My editor, Katrina Rowitz, shout out to her. She's got a book dropping on Kickstarter soon, Tales from the Toy Store Part 2. The second to last chapter, she goes, this would have been a good place to start. And then she read the last chapter. She's like, okay, I was wrong. This was a really good place to start. So the people that have read it are really excited for book 2. I was planning on launching this month, but like I said, due to everything that's happened, I want to make sure everything's done and everything's perfect. I don't want anything rushed. I want people to get what they pay for. It's a great story, and it really hits home. And for the people that look at it and go, oh, it's a sci-fi book, I'm not into sci-fi books, this hits multiple genres. It's a human story. You're really going to relate to the characters and the things that he faces along his journey. It's a roller coaster ride. And when you know what's happening, I guarantee you don't. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy writing. It's what I've always wanted to do. Back in, 4th grade, we'd color pictures and we'd write stories. And the other kids would, write a half a page or a page, the bare minimum. I would turn in 5 or 10 pages, and my teacher would be like, "For the love of God, this is a novel. You should keep up with this." But life told you, "Oh, you can't make a living being an artist or writing books or being an indie creator. You'll never be able to have a family and a house." So, I went out and I worked a 60-hour-a-week job, and then now I do this not as a hobby, but as this is my passion. I want to do this. I want to continue to write stories, and it just took getting a cancer diagnosis to kick me in the ass and finally say I'm not going to let anything stand in my way. And I found out this March I don't have cancer, thank God. So it took him a little over a year, but I'm glad it happened because it took something that I wanted to do for 10 years and it made it a reality. And now I'm going to be publishing my first comic book story, and I'm here today to be an inspiration to other people who are sitting there. They come and watch my podcast, and it gives them no excuses not to chase their dreams. I stared death in the face and I said, I'll make this happen because it matters to me, and it matters to me to leave something behind for my kids. And so I just want people out there to stop making excuses and go out there and do what they're passionate about. There wouldn't be a Star Wars if George Lucas went out and wrote it. If he would have just said, screw it, you can make a living. There's a lot of things out there that could be really great. Just need people to get off their ass and do them. So,
well, I appreciate
right now,
sharing your story like that. It may be easy for you. I don't know you well, but you seem like you're a person who's very honest. But like Tyler is the same. He kind of, he shares his what's going on with him openly, and that's not easy. So I just want to say that I appreciate your honesty is needed in the community, and you may not see it right away, but it does have an effect on others that you're willing to share the ups and downs and how that fuels you creatively. We need to hear those kind of stories and remember why at least most of us sit down at the computer or the drawing table or whatever and do this stuff.
I appreciate that, man.
That's good. Good. All right. Well, we are at 2 hours, so we're going to wrap this baby up. Everybody's got a chance to talk. Well, actually, let's give Sean a little bit of chance to talk before that. Sean said the retail incentive is up. It's 7 copies exactly. So if you can go pick that up, Danny, that would be appreciative. That would be great. Get that in the store. Get the bar in there. But go ahead and tell us your story. Tell us why we need to back the bar, why it's so important, why being on this chat was so important. You were here last week. John.
Are you there?
Yeah? Are you there?
Last week I'd never actually entered one of these, and I did it on my phone, and every time I left swiped, it just exited me out. So technologically it was a bit of a pain, but so when it comes to, I think, the bar and a lot of my work, I think just like everybody else, probably from the youngest age, you wanted to create, you wanted to make comics, and I started with We as Americans. I think that was my first Kickstarter. That was kind of like my, answer to Watchmen, right? Like in the sense of Watchmen was about the fears and anxieties of the 80s. I think I started to write that maybe at the end of the Bush presidency when we had all those kinds of fears and anxieties, right? So I launched a Kickstarter for 2100 AD. That's like Chuck actually reviewed that, glowing review. He either doesn't remember or doesn't associate me with it.
No, I believe I do remember that one now. That one was an end of the world story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you tell the actual story of the end of the world, and then at the very end we get to kind of meet up with the team and whatnot that's going to be moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So that'll actually have a volume 2, probably in the next few months. Really, I think my main focus right now is the bar. Big reason for that is because it's kind of plug and play with the Netflix experience, right? There's probably a lot that when you look at Black Mirror, when you look at things of that nature, those kinds of episodics to where every new episode, every new story, you have something different happening. There's a different ending. There's a shock. There's a twist. There's something happening there. So I really like to be able to play. I think with that medium, I like to be able to tell stories from all walks of life, from all types of people. When you mentioned, kind of tell us about you. I think I'm somebody that kind of lived everywhere, right? Like, growing up Detroit area, I had the experience of being like the only white kid in school, the only Black kid in school, just in different places that I might have lived. So as a writer, when you start to, I guess, have everybody become your people, when you've had, I suppose, a chance to break bread with everybody from all walks of life and hear everybody's story, that's you couldn't do better research than that, right? So I think I decided early on I wanted to write for those reasons, and my experience is probably not too different from anyone else's.
Awesome. All right, so we got you some retail packages. Retail packages are really important for something that's something we learned today. Retail packages are very, very important. I do really well with them on all my Kickstarter. However, I will tell you this caveat, because I was talking to Scout, one of the things that they look at, is retail packages. If they see a lot of retail packages sold, it does concern them that their book may not sell well. Like if they're going to pick up your book and republish it. So you got to be careful with that as well. So make sure, they're not worried about you selling, 10 copies. They're worried about you selling 150 to a package, right? Because getting that store to buy more is going to be tough. Just something to point out. But I do think as you're growing and your goal is to just get your work out there, retail tiers, I always offer 3 different options. It's very important. That's our goal, right? Our goal is to get in the stores. It's goal to get readers. The biggest place that has readers is stores. So let's do that. Is that okay, Tyler? Because no.
No, I don't believe that.
What's your goal, Tyler?
My goal is to get readers, and they're not in the stores.
Yeah, you hate them. You hate retail. You hate people in stores.
No, I go. I go to. I haven't gone to my local LS whatever. My local comic
LCS.
store in like a year. I just went in last week to get the new Black Label Batman books, but
I thought you were done with Batman.
the main title. But I saw that Jock, my favorite Batman artist. He's like, "Hey, I'm doing a 3-issue mini series." And I'm like, "Fine, like I'll do that." And then Andrea Sorrentino's doing another one with Black Label, and it's like he's like, "Hey, I'm doing a 3-issue mini series," and I'm like, "Fine, I guess I'll read these because they're one and done stories." But that's really all I read with mainstream.
Yeah. Well,
unless you count is Webtoons now mainstream now that DC's on there?
What is Webtoons? Is that place where manga is? I don't speak manga, Tyler.
Dude, Webtoons it's the largest digital.
There's a lot of manga on there.
Is the Webtoons the largest digital webcomic platform? And
Netflix. Yes, I've heard of Netflix. Yes, where you can watch in manga, like the manga cartoons. Yes.
Oh no.
Dude, DC just launched Batman on there.
Comixology, I've heard of that. Yeah, Comixology, where they have digital.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
that thing that's ending very soon.
Right. Yeah. That thing.
He's got the knife again, Tyler.
Which is
Travis,
super
watch
awkward. I submitted. I literally hit the submit button, checked my email, and they said they're getting rid of Comixology. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, "Is this just to me?"
I'll say this. It's Walter Osley is the king of webtoons.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
All right.
We had a Walter Osley. He was one of our first creators. He did a book for us years ago.
What?
Hey,
What do you have for Walter Osley?
It's called Cubicles.
Oh, I've read Cubicles.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Cubicles is great.
Yeah.
Cubicles is a great book.
Travis knows how to push my buttons, I swear.
You know what? Actually, Tyler, you are one of a couple people who inspired me to start checking out manga. Just to because I was told by several people, look, manga is comics. Yeah. It's all a part of that. And I was like, yeah, you know what?
I had this conversation with Chuck too.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? You're right. That is not cool. Yeah, you were one of them too, Braden. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's not cool that I'm leaving a brand of comics out. And why? So I've been
if you it's a lot different than Western comics, but they're outselling Western comics right now. And so I'm not saying that they're better. What I'm saying is because I don't like the medium 100%. They are outselling.
Well, so you want to hear something funny? So I've been trying to check out manga and whatnot, take it seriously. Yeah. I've been checking some out. And then this weekend at Fan Expo, some manga people walked by, and I'm like, hey, do you guys like comics at all? And they're like, we like manga. And I'm like, manga's comics? And they're like, well, yeah, but and I was like, look. And so I started telling them about how several of my friends had inspired me to get into manga as an American comics guy. And they were like, oh, that's really cool. Good for you. Yeah, I think that's great. And I was like, yeah, but it goes both ways. So if I have to check out manga, you motherfuckers have to check out American comics. And they were like, oh, yeah. And I was like, why don't you come on over here? At least take a look at it. Flip through. At least
check it out.
So they went and they flipped through Belial, and I did get one of them to buy.
There you go.
Oh, you owe Tyler that money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so,
between Tyler, Jordan Arledge, Braden.
I'll be there in Texas. Be like, hey, you're welcome.
Here's the thing.
Give me that $2.
You see Joshua behind Joshua, that stack of comics. Now imagine that goes all the way to the ceiling, and that is my house. And I have all these comics, and my daughter's like, meh, manga. So I just abandoned her. And she was 19, and I
put her in a cardboard box with a free sign.
And that hurt. The only thing I can ever get her to read is a book called Kaboom, which if you look up Kaboom right now, it's basically manga. It's Jeff Loeb and Jeff Matsuda before he figured out his non-manga style. So this is like manga Jeff Matsuda, not like the hybrid from Battle Chasers.
I brought up the Webtoon thing just because DC just put out a Batman series on Webtoon.
Ken, you're saying crazy things, and I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm just saying.
Better get on it, Travis.
I know, but I do appreciate Tyler as a creator. I do think manga is legit art form. I don't think Westerners are allowed to be part of it, from what I hear.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
There's one, right? There's only one person, one of all of manga that's ever actually really made it, right?
There's so you have like the biggest magazine, which is called Shonen Jump, and that's like where all these big popular, multi-million sales are coming from.
Sure, yeah.
And there's only been one American who's been able to break into there, and then I think right now a series called Dr. Stone, the artist is I think Chinese, but they hold international competitions every year.
Right.
For people to get in. The Japanese people just keep winning though.
Well, one of the things I will tell you, I watched them. I almost watched a manga, almost. So I watched
an anime.
It's an anime.
That's it.
I swear, if I stay at Travis's place, I'm gonna get on top of him at night and I'm gonna be like, get the words right.
No, anime. I watched the Death Note movie.
That's not.
No, listen. And then I used that to read the Wikipedia, and I found that it could actually be interesting if I wanted to invest 187 hours or whatever it takes to watch the full anime.
So here's the thing, like with because manga is just so big, but for $2 a month you can subscribe to the digital Shonen Jump app, and I binged 180 chapters of the series called The Promised Neverland in 1 week. My wife found me in our room crying because I'd gone to the ending, and she's like, "What's wrong? Like, what happened? Is your parents okay?" And I'm like, "Just that my book ended, and like it was so good, and she did it. The main character did it." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you like do this for like any comic. I've only cried in one.
Spoiler alert!
I've only cried in one comic. It was Spider-Man Blue."
That made me cry.
You should. Every man, when you get to that last page, you should be crying.
Are you talking about the Mary Jane line to Peter?
Don't, dude. I'm getting shivers right now. I'm gonna start crying right now. Like, hey guys, subscribe to my channel.
Silver Surfer Requiem did that to me.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Dude, it was just so beautifully done.
I remember when I can't even think of her name right now. Was it in the comics, the girlfriend for God damn it, Walking Dead. All right, let's get us in genre. Walking Dead. Rick's longtime girlfriend. Was it Carol in the
Andrea?
No, Andrea. When Andrea got bit, I remember being in a subway and actually gasping and having to look around awkwardly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't want to derail. I'm going to derail your conversation real quick because
he's trying to wrap up the show and you're starting.
I know with Walking Dead, Travis. Did you read Walking Dead? Did you like Walking Dead?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, I think Walking Dead, in essence, is a manga.
No, I read it the right way. See, when I turned the page,
it was left or right.
Yeah, that's how I know. I've been fooled before.
You'll read mine though. You'll read my American manga, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Only if it's backwards.
I'm actually reading it right now.
I'm actually not against manga, and one of the things I do love about the Japanese culture versus American, I would love like Red 5 or even Chuck and I have tried it to get a book where we can have 3 ongoing stories
everyone
where no one is saying that you're only buying it for this book or you're only buying it for this book, and you're having this little war, and the creators don't care, right? Their creators aren't worried about it. They're happy with splitting the money because that just doesn't happen in America. Like it just is not possible.
That was
you want to know.
I'm in one right now.
My original idea, like before pre-Red 5, of something I wanted to do.
There's one like that right now. I can't say anything because I'm in it, and I know it doesn't come out till next year. But there is a group of creators, and there's 5. We all have our chapter 1s, and then it's going to come out every single month with it's like a monthly anthology series like that. I think one thing I appreciate with manga is they encourage new creators to get in. So like all of us would have a shot in the mainstream if we're good enough, because they hold monthly competitions. Whoever wins gets it. So for example, like the guy who created Naruto, everyone knows who Naruto is. The
noodle?
I will kill you. Massive
Oh,
series.
People who don't know how to run.
Yeah, exactly. Massive TV show, massive series. He then does another series, and it drops within a year because it was so unpopular. Wow. And now he has to earn his spot back into getting into these mainstream books. Whereas we treat like someone like Brian Michael Bendis, and he has a good couple years, and now he's like, we'll give him everything. We'll give him everything.
Yeah, but see, Tyler, here's where I disagree. I think in mainstream comics, we all go to like, all right, I want to write Batman or I want to write Spider-Man, but you're literally trying to fight for a job that you'll have like 5 years, 10 years if you're really good, right? Because the people who I loved, Ed Brubaker or Greg Rucka, like where you have to find them in the indie because they've gone back to indie.
They've gone back, and
right?
They're pissed that they even worked at those places.
I don't think they are. I mean, I saw a beautiful story with Ed Brubaker. Though you're talking about the $5,000 thing. If you read that whole article, he was like, I wrote an effing Western and I sold 200,000 copies. That's because I wrote Cap. You don't do that in comics.
Yeah, I mean that's like the modern version of the Marvel and DC writer nowadays. Partly it's going there to because you're like, yeah, I've always wanted to write X-Men, I've always wanted to write Batman, but it's also like, this is what's going to make my name, because I will never sell as many books at Image before I write those as afterwards, because there's still like a ton of people who their first stop is Marvel and DC, and they're only going to discover me there. They're not going to discover me somewhere else, and they might, they'll follow me afterwards. But yeah,
it's fair.
All right, so to wrap this up, what we're going to do it a little different. We're going to let you pitch. And then I'm going to tell you something that I appreciate about each one of you creators, about what you're doing that you may not know. We're going to try that out. Be nice.
This is cute.
Try, you put away that knife. You're getting aggressive.
Say something nice.
I'm worried about you. And then when you're kind of done that thing, I'm going to remove you from the chat as we can get this out, because what I've made mistakes in the past is I keep you around. And then it goes wrong. So we're going to start with John. John been here for a little bit, and we just talked to Tyler. So I don't want to start with Tyler, even though Tyler was first. We've talked to Tyler for a little bit. We'll let him stick around. Let's start with you, John. Give us one more pitch on what we need to buy, why, and all that shenanigans.
Well, I hope I've dropped the link in the chat a few times. Depowered is my emo superhero story, but I will forego the big pitch just to say thanks to Travis. I've been doing this for a while. I haven't had quite the career as Josh is. I think we started about the same time. He started Red 5, and I certainly have not had that success. So for me, these not to make us feel old. For me, these moments are really important to me. Like, I know this is normal for you. You invite people in. You back Kickstarters all the time. I've teased you about it online, but it's really important to have people like you around that really invite people to share their voice. And I just want to use my last moments to say, I really appreciate it, because again, this is probably the peak for me. I'm old. I'm probably not going to work at Marvel or any of that stuff. I'll probably never have a book published. So, these hangouts and these moments are what make it special for me to be part of this community.
You are the same age as most of us here, though.
I know, but in comics years, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've been doing it for a while, and I'm still kind of, at the beginning as far as fan base. And you know what? I'm a realist, Chuck. I'm not really going anywhere special. I'm just happy to be along with you all for the ride.
I think calling yourself a realist is just your own way of nicely calling yourself a pessimist.
Maybe I am a little pessimistic.
I think you're better than you're giving yourself than you're saying, because I've read your work and I fucking loved Depowered. And guys, I think you should go check it out. It really is a great book.
Thank you for pitching.
Anybody before I say my final goodbye to John? Does anybody have anything else they want to say for John?
I'm excited to read your book.
Thank you. See you on the interwebs. Thanks for having me.
So, John, I want to say that I appreciate you because you wrote a book that is about my wife's life. My wife is in Child Protective Services, and something that she can relate to, something that she doesn't get to see on the regular basis, and that means the world. People want to get their stories told, right? They don't see themselves in these characters sometimes. You know, how many movies have you seen that has a Child Protective Service worker? Like none. There's zero. How many TV shows? Zero. There's one comic that I know of, John, and you wrote that comic. So it mattered to my wife, and therefore it matters to me because that person matters to me more than anybody next to Chuck.
I'm glad to hear that. No, I'm also a social worker, so yeah, it's obviously dear to my heart too. So I appreciate that, sir.
No, I appreciate you. All right, see you later. See you on the flip.
Now get out.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Russell. We're going to skip around to Russell because he didn't have to get a chance to talk. I make him mute. He's been the guy posting all these things. He's posted about Immortal Error. Ed left hours ago. Posted about Expired, and I appreciate his hustle for everybody. But Russell, tell us what we need to get. Tell us more so how we can donate to be part of this auction thing.
In order to donate to the Comic Books for Kids auctions, you can message the page, which is ran by me through Russ Explode Studios, or you can direct message me. You can send me a friend request and, hit me up. I am always accepting donations. So just because September's auction is running right now, as people are sending me stuff, I'm adding that stuff on there constantly. So don't feel like you have to, hey, I know you're already running an auction. Just message me. You want to send me stuff, I will add it right away. That's no problem at all. We're raising this money for kids. They can use every bit of help they can get because they ship, 125 comics to a hospital. We're talking, $25+ a box to ship. So per hospital, it's a couple $100. So every little bit helps. And don't ever feel like, I want to send you some prints. I know it's not enough. Anything is enough. So please, I get that all the time. Oh, I only sent you a few prints. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to send me a comic, a print.
We lost him. Wow. All right.
Bueller. Should I wait? All right, he's back. Hold on. Hi, Russell.
Hi. I don't know what happened. It just kicked me out. So anyway, if you want to send stickers, prints, anything, I'm willing to take anything. Remarks, original art, everything sells. Every little bit helps. You may be able to fund 10 books going to a hospital. That's 10 kids' lives. You're going to make a change. If you guys want to donate, please go check out Comic Book Charity Auctions. Send me a friend request. I can send it over to the page, whatever you need to do. It's a great thing. I'll pop my website in here as well. You can go there to get the apparel. All the official apparel is on my website. All proceeds from the apparel after the shipping and everything goes to CB4K as well. So if you don't want to donate or you don't want to buy any of the art, you can always rock a shirt. You guys are going to cons. People are going to ask, what's Comic Book for Kids? You can say, hey, I know this Russell Allen guy. They raise money for kids in hospitals and cancer centers. If you need more information, here's where you can find them. Because that's what we need more than anything. Social media only goes so far. Talking about it on the podcast only goes so far. But you guys wearing these shirts to cons can make a huge difference. You're talking hundreds of people, thousands of people see this. Even if only 10 people ask what it is, that's still 10 more people that know about it that can tell their friends. As far as everything else, please go to that website as well. Please get a copy of Xenon Anti-Titan, The Fall Before the Rise, Book 1. This is a passionate story. I guarantee you're going to love it. The reviews are starting to roll in on it finally. It's something I've anticipated the most. I don't really care about the money. I care about the conversations with the fans, talking to them about the universe, hearing their questions. That's what I'm in it for. If I stand at a con and I talk to somebody for 5 hours about the book, granted it sucks because I'm not going to sell anything, but I'm still going to enjoy talking to fans because that's what matters to me. And I appreciate all you guys. Anybody that wants to set up a show, any of you guys here, when you guys have a Kickstarter going on, don't be afraid to send me a message and say, hey, I want to talk about my project. I want to talk about my inspirations. I'll have you on.
Awesome. Well, Russell, one of the things I love about you, first, before I say that, anybody have anything you're going to say to Russell?
I do. When you hang out with Russell, anything goes. He is there to have fun. He is there to entertain. He's there to show off your book. And I will tell you that some of the wackiest, craziest stuff I've ever done on a live show was on Russell's show, and he was completely game. It was not inappropriate. We had a great time. Look at him laughing away. We had such a good time. And yeah, man. So much love to you, Russ. I fucking love being on your show.
I appreciate you too, bud.
So what I will say about Russell, one of the things that I love about him is it's really hard to sell a book on Kickstarter. It really is. And watching him inspire the comics community to buy his book, going in a different direction. I love people who have creative marketing. So like getting like, if you don't back this, you hate Steph Wilson, basically. I was like, what? Yeah, you basically hate Steph Wilson, and that's all there is. And like Chris Mann and all these creatives that you got in to do like sketch art for your book. I thought that was genius. It's really good marketing. I was very proud of it. And as a marketer myself, as my full-time job, I loved it. And I appreciate you for that and appreciate your purpose in the community, brother.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thanks for having me.
So I'm going to get Brett in and out because he is having problems here. So I will see you, Russell. Brett, are you there?
He froze again.
He has the most serious face. Just
right. No, is it?
Looks like I have issues.
Do you think Brett and Russell are in the same house? Sean, what's good about Sean is Sean's like, I see this game. I'm going to keep saying like this to make him think that I'm frozen as well. Just to mess with him. Tyler, can we see where you're drawing?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, let's see what you're drawing real quick. The rest of us can't draw, so we got to see.
Right.
I mean, maybe Josh or Brett.
No,
I'm legit drawing. I'm drawing and talking.
Because I can't draw. Sorry, right.
Where is my share screen? Share. Spoilers.
This is spoilers. Okay.
Spoilers.
Normally you'd have to pay big Patreon money for this.
Big $2 Patreon money for this. Oh,
Brett,
get Brett
do you
in real
exist?
quick.
Are you there? Is that really you?
Technically, my wife pays, so I'm in.
Where is it? I'm still waiting, Tyler.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you wanted to get Brett in.
Well, we will. I want to see your thing first. We're going to look at Tyler.
We all want to see your thing first.
I can't pull. That's a higher tier. Pull out the
That's
thing.
hot.
So you were working on this page. Looked like it was done earlier. So you were just adding detail, or
no? I legit drew everything on the left during this entire conversation.
What? Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. So the page on the left, I did everything during this show.
Oh.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Excellent. So how long? And so you ship out MegaFest soon, right?
Yeah. So the physical book, the volume. So we'll be doing 2 Kickstarters every year. One in February and one in August starting next year. So volume 1 will be in February, volume 2 will be in August, and we'll just keep doing 2. But while we're doing those, we're still releasing new chapters every 2 weeks.
Right. But you can get a special physical in the Patreon, right?
Yeah, you get the Patreon exclusive cover, and it's just automatically shipped to you.
Does Tyler do covers? Yes, Tyler does do covers. He does fantastic covers.
I did Viscarian Tales.
He did.
All right, Brett. Hold on, we gotta get Brett.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you exist? Are you real?
For now.
So Brett, first off, do you live at Russell's house?
I do not live at Russell's house.
Then why do you have the same internet?
Where does Russell live?
So give us a final pitch, bro.
All right. So right now I've got my Mobimals trading cards up on Kickstarter. Just went live during this broadcast, thanks to Travis and the others' peer pressure. So it's a set of trading cards, like the old school sports cards or, booster packs of Pokemon, Digimon, and millions of others. Except these are based on real life mobsters who had animal nicknames that I reimagined as their animal counterparts and then provided facts on the back about the real life mobsters. One of the more interesting characters in this series is a guy named Joe Gielli, whose nickname was Jelly, and I turned him into a jellyfish. And he was actually the inspiration for the killing of Luca Brasi in The Godfather. So that's one of the fun tidbits and more information that you can learn when you back to Kickstarter.
That's cool.
Nice. And we still need one more to get to our goal. So if anybody hasn't backed, please take a minute to back. Even if you back in the digital level, you can really read all the stuff, read all the trading cards. There's some cool stuff. So I think any level is good. And that's only $5. So, and you can get your books too, right?
Yep. So I have a couple packages for the based on a true story tiers. And if you were to get all three of those, you have over 100 comics, and for I think $30, including free U.S. shipping and the pack of cards. So, but yeah, I also have some add-ons for my other books and stuff as well.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Brett, for coming on. Does anybody have anything for Brett? All right. Brett, I want to tell you, I appreciate you. You were the first person to do anything crime related when I started this. So I was doing crime, broke down. I think I was on issue 2. And then you came out of nowhere doing crime. And, I'm a jealous guy, and I wasn't intimidated by your little animals. So that was good. So that made me feel comfortable. Like it made me transition and know that someone's going to write in your genre eventually. So, made me feel safe. And now there's tons of people writing crime that we know. Like we even have the Facebook group for crime comics, and make sure you post about that. We don't use it nearly as much as we should. In fact, actually, just about the box.
Which group is that?
What is it called? I don't even.
Crime comic book fans or something.
Yeah,
like that?
I did not even know that existed. All right, I'll
crime
go out and
comic
look
fans.
for it. All right.
We've got a good little group there. Sign on in and be there and check it out.
I will definitely do that.
Huh. Apparently, I shared my expired in there. I'm breaking my own rules. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. All right, but I appreciate you. Thank you, Brett.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. Now we're going to go to Braden.
Well, so you guys will love Sever if you love heavy metal, horror, and romance. All physical. The first 100 physical backers will also get a free guitar pick if that has the Sever cover on it, and on the back it'll say, "Thanks for being one of the first 100 backers." And there's still lots of them left. I think we only have 63 backers. So, but anyways, yeah, I really put a lot of work into this book. It's very personal to me. I have a great team behind me and has been helping me out a lot, including this guy, that guy. And yeah, no, I feel that this will, the people that have already reviewed it love it. They love how relatable the characters are. So it is something that anyone can jump on and really enjoy.
Awesome. Anybody got anything to say about the bar? All right. Russell's pointing that Yo is so hyped for the guitar pick.
Yeah.
And crime. That's a crime group. If you're in the chat, you got anything to say, Chuck? Because you're the editor.
Yeah, actually, I do. Bryden has been just an amazing friend, and I love working with the guy. And he comes up with really, really weird stories, and like fun weird. He makes me appreciate weird more. Sever's a really cool story, but I'm also super excited about his next book, Outwash Onslaught, which I can tell you guys I've read it all the way through, and that's going to be literally a killer book. So I think Braden's star is rising, and he's someone to watch. And buddy, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Brain, I'll see you in the
appreciate it.
next podcast where when someone inevitably asks, so, well, like, what was Insane Comics like?
Right.
I'll see you in the next show.
I thought you were gonna do the whole like reunion on the Drawn Talk because we talked about it the
I know.
one time.
We get everyone in. It never happened.
So,
And then I
Braden,
deleted all my videos.
I appreciate you because how personal your story is. You know, when I heard about, you know, the relationships and you trying to deal with some of that stuff. And I don't know, can I say the bisexual stuff?
It's definitely a LGBTQ book. And like, it's a lot. It also touches on like growing up and being bisexual, and in the town that I live in, it was really hard because like I lived with like all these rednecks that would literally go beat the shit out of like the gay people or the,
right.
You know, it was not very good.
So yeah, writing a story that kind of resonates to that and being a personal story, I think that's hard. That's way harder than doing stuff and putting that out there into the world, you know, which is really cool. And I appreciate that. Insane Comics got to turn into one of those things that one time at Bandcamp.
That one time at
we should just take their logo and make it Insane Comics anthology and just be like, what are you talking about?
And never heard of it. You know the website? I looked at a memory came up and it was like Insane Comics monthly for September, and I clicked on the website like, please buy the domain for $5,000. I was like, jeez. So yeah.
So, but I appreciate you. I'm excited. This is the last week. I think we're both on our last week. So
yep.
See you at the finish line, good sir.
All right. Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone. It was good meeting everyone.
Peace. All right. We got Sean and Josh here because they got to keep the OGs together. So Chuck and Tyler have to stay.
Okay.
We're the
OGs.
Original bad boys of comics. So we're going to go Sean next because I know Sean less than Josh. And Josh is like, how is that possible? Go ahead, Sean.
You'll never get to know me with an early exit, my friend.
Early? I let you. There was like 4 people before you.
This is true. But I wasn't speaking then, right? So it doesn't really add to your cause. I'm all right with not doing a plug. Actually, I'd like to ask you, since you wanted to be one of the first backers of the bar, why was that?
One of the things that I liked about you is I was in an argument, or let's call it a discussion, with Marcel Dupree. For everybody who watches knows who Marcel is, why I argue with him, everyone is aware of. So that's not necessary for tonight. But you were giving insight on both sides and like supporting that. I really had a lot of respect for that. So that was one of the reasons. 2, I love supernatural like time stuff. Like Electric Black has a very similar plot. So Electric Black shows up when people need it and they get an artifact. So that kind of thing and stuff. There's a book called The Gun from an indie press. I can't think of the name of it, but there's a press. Look at Russell Allen. He's grabbing demons so we can buy it on demand. Like he is hustling. So I like stuff like that. That's kind of been a thing for me. And I like people stories. If you notice, a lot of my books are people. You know, Buddha Nations is, though we do have a superhero-ish thing, it's a people. Even my sci-fi, we have 5 humanoid creatures. Like they're not, like it's still people. Like I tend to resonate the stories that I like tend to be people.
What did you call that? Electric Black?
Electric Black, yes. It is one of the best
Scout Comics.
in Scout Comics.
Scout Comics, yeah.
It's so good.
Is that done with, or is it still ongoing?
It's ongoing, yeah. It's there's a few issues out. They basically do it in like series. So they did Electric Black, which I think 1 through 4, and then now there's Electric Black Presents, which is like highlighting special characters and kind of showing the history of the Electric Black. And then now Electric Black Caravan, I think, is next, which is a few more kind of one-shots, kind of tying it all together.
I looked at that model. I think Scout, right? They're the people that will typically have 4 books dropping at the same time, or the equivalent, kind of like releasing trades. Is that Scout or no?
They do that. They do that a little bit, yeah. They have like
they have a thing called non-stop, which is one issue, and then they go straight to the trade. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that? I guess you don't speak for Scout, but economically, does that make sense or does that not make sense?
Well, let me try to explain. It does on some levels. So some people, that's a better format. Like if you feel your comic is better as a graphic novel, so many people say that. Oh, I'm doing the graphic novel. So that one and done allows the creators to be able to hit that issue one collector's market, and then get to what they feel is their best selling point is the graphic novel.
Well, just in the sense that if you skip issue 2, 3, 4, 5, you could probably have released those then the trade after as well. You know what I mean?
You can, but then you get the trade out faster. And if your goal, like one of the Scout's goals is to pitch to movies, they want it out and finished as quickly as possible. So they want that ISBN number from Barnes and Noble as quickly as they can, because that gives it more credibility to a movie studio than a comic USPC.
Makes sense. Anyway, happy to hang out with you, Travis. I think I've seen you around. I think you're right. We don't know each other that well, but crazy thing, I followed you on Kickstarter just to be aware of, when you do a project, when you launch or something, and I got so much more information than I wanted from that. I got about 10, 12 emails today every time you back a project.
Yeah.
And I can't really commend that enough, right? Because I suppose not everybody puts their money where their mouth is, but when you're out there taking the time for creators, when you're backing everybody's work, when you're having people on, putting together things like this, I think just positive for the community as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, even before this, a lot of people saw me. I was on a live chat at a comic store doing a live video selling the comics that they backed. So it's not just about getting that. Like Danny's store, when Danny backs my book as a retail tier, I go to his store to make sure it sells. It's just about doing this. I want to do this. I actually want to do this full time. Like it's very, very important to me. So I've got to do the work, and I want to be part of the community too. One of the things that, one of these creator chats, it frustrates me when people say they love comics and they love it, but they're like, oh, I haven't read a modern comic in the last forever. And not like Tyler, who's burned out with them at this particular moment, but like someone who's actively haven't read anything since X-Men 90s Jim Lee, right? Like people, you need to know what is selling, what the market looks like, what that's about, and what stories are resonating with people before you think you can change an industry that you know nothing about. So I put money in my mouth as my comic order was $70 this week. Shh, my wife better not be watching. That's with a 40% discount. Yeah, that's not counting all my Kickstarters that I back. It's because I really want to support the community, see what the community's doing, and see how I can be better in the community. What ideas that I can do to do it better. Tyler, Danny really wants some copies of Demons.
Yeah, what's funny is I have limited, but you hit me up and we'll figure out something.
But yeah, Sean, so that's why I do it. And Chuck can back me up because he's been to my house. It's mostly physical. It's not a lot of digital. I back most physical because I believe that you need to own the physical stuff. Even right here. Oh, actually, this is all my stuff. So that's. Oh no, I got one. Got Hardline.
He actually has stacks of long boxes that act as supporting beams in his house. It's like I was like, I went to go grab one, and he was like, no, that's holding up that section of roof, and I was like, oh, all right, my apologies.
That's a load-bearing structure.
That's load-bearing. Yep.
That's something I've been protected for the last remaining copies. He's trying to track something more. But yeah, it's really important to be part of the community, and I understand that everyone may not have the financial capabilities as me. Like, I totally get that. But $1 means so much. So backing for $1. So let's say Tyler chooses to back me for $1. That lets everyone that Tyler knows that he backs me. And that's why he doesn't back me anymore, because he doesn't want people to know that he supports me.
Well, it's funny. I won't say it on air, but Chuck sent me a message, I think 2 weeks ago, and he was like, I saw that.
Oh,
do you know? I won't say it
I
out loud.
did. That's right. Yeah, I do remember that.
It sends out a message to everyone that you backed the project, and that means something. And I know that my name holds a little bit of weight. I'm not like trying to like overflow my ego. I know it holds a little bit of weight to certain people. And if you get that email and that holds weight to you and I can get you to back a book, I've done my job. I wanted to get you funded tonight.
Did I get you to back one today?
I mean, I've already backed your project, but I've backed some stuff.
The devil one.
Oh, no. Jared and I have been friends for years. I've just been holding off.
Okay, I was going to say, it seemed like I shared it, and like 10 minutes later, I got an alert that you backed it. I didn't know.
Sure, you can get credit. You can get credit for it. But no, I've been looking at Jared's for a little bit. Actually, like full honesty, I'll do full disclosure. He backed me right before that, so I backed him back. But I was going to back it anyways. I backed the bar because I saw Travis had backed it and made me check it out. Yeah, see? That's all it takes is a little bit of that stuff. And if anybody has any questions about how to make their Kickstarters better or whatever, let me know. I'm here to help.
Cool.
But that's why I appreciate you, Sean. Can we get the bar funded? I will put it in my update after this video. So I'll put it in tonight.
Oh, you mean when you send out for your current one?
The update. Yep. I'll do it tonight to see if we can get you funded.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
All right. Thanks, Sean. He's a really cool guy. I like him.
He's a good dude.
Fuck that.
Josh, you have a family and kids. You probably want to go to bed. You're like, why did I agree to this? It's almost 3 hours.
Mainly, I want to go eat because I have some Whataburger that's slowly going cold downstairs. So I'm going to.
I mean, I don't know when you got it, but it's probably gold.
What a burger.
So go ahead and promote the box, promote Red 5, whatever you want. You can promote somebody else's stuff. I don't care.
Yeah, no, I will do all of that and take up everybody else's remaining time. No, go read the box, issue 2. If it is not out this week, it's coming out very soon. You should see it in your store soon. Fantastic. I think non-biased opinion here. Some fantastic twisty crime comics with some strange occult magic material going on. Some great art. It's been, like I said, it's been our best ordered #1 since the pandemic. So I'd like to make it our best selling series since the pandemic. So let's go out and get 2, 3, and 4 and get that first series. And while you're out there, look for some of the other awesome stuff Red 5's going to be coming out with. So in November, we'll have Carriers from Ben Ferrari. So if you want to see some weaponized carrier pigeons protecting New York City from evildoers of all shapes and sizes, get Carriers #1. If you were a giant fan like I was of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the day, or still are, it's going to scratch that particular itch for you in a new and different way. And in December, we're going to have Download. So for fans of kind of classic 80s sci-fi, it's a real pay-in to that Stranger Things crowd, to stuff like Goonies and Explorers and the like, with a bunch of kids get plans for alien technology downloaded into their brains and feel the urge to build everything that's in their brains without knowing what it is they're building or what it does until they turn it on. Check that out in December. And we're doing our first giant monster book, Mega, also in December. It's going to be one of those prestige titles that I was talking about, oversized, 48 pages, 8 by 11. So big, large size. Get a great view of fantastic art from a fantastic Argentinian writer-artist named Salvador Sanz. He really hits that sort of classic Mobius heavy metal vibe with his art style. And he's going to be bringing that to... he did Angela Del Morte for us over the last couple of years, and now he's doing giant monsters destroying North America. So look for that in December.
Nice. Well, anybody have anything to say to Josh before he leaves?
As a fellow Texan, I'm just kind of catching you guys on my radar, but I'm super excited to check out your stuff and see what you guys have to offer. So really, really excited to talk with you guys more and hopefully have a relationship. So I'm really excited to see what you guys got.
For sure. Same here.
Thanks, man.
Random question, Josh, and this is just important for me and Chuck. You just have to answer the question. You can even answer it in the comments. A private chat, you don't have to answer it. Do you feel that Behemoth is the biggest comic company in Texas?
They definitely want to be. Are they bigger than Antarctic? I don't know. I mean, Antarctic's got like 20 plus years of catalog stuff, and
Right.
you know, they go up and down. Sometimes they don't publish very much. Sometimes they publish a lot. From people I know who've had stuff there, it's impossible to get like a good idea of exactly what their size is, but
Right.
But they're still here and they're still going. Behemoth's got a lot of money that they're going to throw around, but will they still be here in 10 years? I hope so, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, it's not to say they're not doing great stuff, but one of the first things they declared, like week 1, was they were the biggest publisher in all of
Well,
Texas.
it's in the name, right?
Ah.
The biggest publisher, the biggest state. You're going to call yourself Behemoth. Yeah.
Danny, we're not here to throw shade on Behemoth. That's not what we're here for. In fact, some of the podcasts that were here that I'm on tomorrow night has a great exclusive cover. They do some great stuff. Promise Me Darkness is a good book. All right, cool. Well, Josh, what I want to tell you is you're very approachable as a publisher, which I think is really, really cool. I loved your work. I loved the box. It was really, really good. I did have to read it a second time to make sure I understood what was going on. But once you figure it out, like it pulls you in, right? Which I think is good. That the extra layers you get on the second read, those are always the best books, when you have to do that. So I thought that was really good. I even have, 2, 3, 4 that I could read, but I'm waiting for the physicals. So I'm going to call my store and figure out what's going on. Danny, did you get the box number 2 today? Maybe he can tell us. We'll leave you here for a second, see if he can get an idea, because I know he ordered it as well. Because you were on a show, right? You were on the collective.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and thanks a lot for putting that together.
No issue.
Yeah.
It's all about giving back to the community.
I know it's got to be en route. So if it's not, I wonder if Danny's gotten his. No, nothing. So it must be next Wednesday. It must be still moving from Diamond Warehouses to.
Well, he may be thinking about it. That may have been an old post, but and we are on a small delay. I think it's like a minute delay. So, but yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out where the box is.
It's coming soon. It's coming It's got to be. It's coming soon because I see Diamond's got them all.
Right. Well, I would assume someone would tag you in it, right? If it was out, like picked it up today, someone you have. Yeah. Wait. All right. Oh, I think he probably looked at.
Oh, okay. So it's moving. So it must be still en route to. It's hard for me to tell on the Diamond end. I have to go ask retailers actually more to get more insight on what Diamond says about my books than what they tell me. So it's always interesting to see what's.
And that's why Tyler doesn't go to comic stores, right there. Looks to be on the invoice for next week. All right.
Excellent. Awesome.
So next week, the box comes up. What that means, guys, is you can go to your comic store this weekend, ask for box number 1. You can get it back. You can get it on order, so they can order it. Mm-hmm. Some stores may be able to get it on Wednesday, depending on how close they are to the Diamond headquarters. If not, you'll be able to get them both the following week. So the first week in October, you get issue 1 and 2, because it's still on back order, right? You can still get it.
You can definitely still get number 1. We sent some more to Diamond, so they still have some from order. So stores that don't have them can still get them from Diamond.
Right. Let's get this baby to sell out. Let's do it. Let's figure out a way to make it sell out. So keep buying them, guys.
Sell out.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
I just want Josh to have more, because Scott's also a writer, right? So we gotta put you guys in competition. That's important.
Right. Scott wrote Download, so that's right. We're going to be competing down to the wire. Who had the best selling the book this year.
And they both have great high concept.
Yeah.
So, all right, go eat your Whataburger.
All right, I'm going to do that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Can I put us all right.
It's like a CNN panel.
Now that all the amateurs are gone.
Fuck those
amateurs. I can't believe you said that, not me.
The guy who's running a publishing company, people who have been around longer than us, Kyle. So we're the OGs. We've got ourselves in trouble, all of us before.
Trouble.
We've caused internet feuds. We've stopped internet feuds. We've been part of internet feuds. Sometimes all in the same week.
We've talked about internet views.
This is the worst selling point of
I know,
so
right?
these guys we're troublemakers, and drama, these guys have it. They're swimming in it.
Actually, I would say we're not. The difference is us. We have. See, Carl knows what's up. Freaking amateurs. I would say we're the opposite. I think all three of us have a very strong moral right or wrong, and we if we are pushed in one thing too far, we will go, all right, that's wrong.
We're vocal.
Right. We're not going to stop.
I'll tell you something. I did.
This is private. Nobody sees this.
I did
Ignore the live.
I did fantastic marketing for someone. Fantastic. So this girl, she posted something. I saw art on Twitter, and I was like, oh my gosh, this art is so awesome. Looked at the tweet, and it said, here's my comic. It's a queer comic, and that's all they marketed it as. And I was like, is it supernatural? Is it action? Like, what is it? Like, what is it? Like, I want more. And I was just on one that day, so I just retweeted, and I said, like, art amazing, writing looks great, marketing terrible. Like, tell me that's more than a queer comic. Right. And they took it just the wrong way, so I got blocked. So I was like, okay, I got blocked. This is where the marketing comes in for them. They screen capped my tweet. Very grateful that they took my handle out though when they screen capped it, so like no one could like know it was me. And then they posted it on their Twitter, and they said, "Can you believe this guy?" That tweet got like 20,000 retweets, 40,000 likes, and I think their subscription on their like webcomic like went up the roof. So I like want to kind of like message them and go, "Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome for your."
See Tyler play tickets to the 23rd all the way. I will call Tyler tomorrow. We'll talk about it and see if it's a real.
Now I need to go talk to my wife and go, "Hey, so I'm ditching you guys. There's this guy in Florida. His name is Travis.
Your baby's still under 2, right?
He'll be 2 by then.
Just don't bring the birth certificate. Say he's under 2, and then he can fly too.
No, we're good. I'm gonna try to stay away. I'll try to keep. I have COVID right now. This
just got awkward.
I've got COVID right now. And maybe it's a good time for me then to go to Florida because I'll be like a little more immune.
Do you are you anti-vax or do you not have the
I got vaccinated, so like it did like the worst thing I had was a cough for like 5 minutes. So I killed it. Like COVID, I beat the shit out of COVID. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
But yeah, so we are the OGs. That's why I left you guys for last. Tyler and I have been friends in comics probably since I started, as well as Chuck. So let's take a minute. I know I'm trying to wrap this up, but let's take a minute. How far do you feel that any of us are? Do you guys feel? Speak for somebody else. So Chuck, you speak for Tyler. Tyler, you speak for me, and then I'll speak for Chuck. Wait, that's not going to work.
That works.
Okay. Do you feel that we are further than when we met?
Who goes first? Who am I talking about again? Am I talking about? I'm talking
you
about
can
you.
Go either way. I'm
gonna go in general. I'm gonna go in general. Okay. And I've talked to Chuck actually about this. I'm gonna say yes. And what I think when I was talking with Chuck, it's when you've kind of like this is the first live show I've done in probably 4 months.
Okay.
I had like a really bad falling out with someone, and then I just kind of stepped away from the community for like 3 months. Okay. I've gone AWOL, and then I like deleted like and then like my YouTube channel. Like I did a hiatus on my YouTube channel. With that being said, in that I still saw I didn't see you guys post in any groups. I wasn't seeing any of you guys post in any groups, and I think when you start out, you're so heavily in these groups. For the first like 2-3 years, I was just every day posting, what do you think of this? And you're trying to get all this information. And then once you kind of get it and you start doing it, at that point, you realize that if the people that are still asking those questions in the groups, you're kind of just like, I don't need it. I already know the answer to that now. And you step out. So I do want to say that I want to say since I've met you guys that we've all leveled up. Uh-huh. In our own different ways, because we're all three doing it, going about it completely differently.
Yeah. I actually feel the same way. especially you two, are so completely different ways. I mean, Travis is pushing so hard for like his work on Kickstarter is absolutely amazing. His work in the stores is incredibly impressive. The stuff that you do with stores and whatnot, and so, and even your work with other creators and whatnot, like locally and such. So, I mean, that's really cool. And I absolutely see a change in you and in how far you've gone and even in the potential that you have. You can see a person's potential growing.
Right.
Tyler, you know what, Tyler? You remind me of when I was leaving home at the age of 19. I told my mom that.
Year.
Oh, wow.
No,
Okay.
No.
Shit, you're young.
No.
When I was leaving home at 19, I was leaving to go into theater. I was going into improv theater. I was going to be an actor. And my mom said, I know nothing about that world. And I believe in you and I believe that you can do it. But I am scared shitless for you. And I have no idea how you're going to make it. And I feel the same way about you. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. You make these moves and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And then you explain it and I'm like, okay, I get your logic. And like this last movie, when you left the Kickstarter, I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And then I've seen what you've done since then. I'm like, okay, all right. I see what's going on. Okay, I get it. And so I really do think that, despite you having to make cuts here and there and whatnot, your success cannot be measured in the way it was measured before. And so I believe what the measurement of your success is purely on your fan base. And I'm seeing that grow. I remember when you were going for 500 subscribers on YouTube. And now look at you. Like your numbers are ridiculous. So you know what you're doing. I don't get it. And I don't necessarily know what you're doing, but I respect you and I respect the moves that you're making.
I appreciate that. It is different.
Yeah, and I don't get it, but I don't have to. It just has to work for you.
Come 2021, the regret was strong. What's funny is I have the book. I have the book that I canceled. We funded in 3 hours. I had $4,000 on Kickstarter and I refunded everyone. And I there's still days where I'm like, man, I kind of regret that. But then I'm like, man, I launched a volume 1. I'd be married to that series right now and hating my life.
But here's one thing that I think about. Though I definitely think that I wouldn't have made that choice. There's no scenario where I would have made that choice. But what you did is you basically used it as a massive marketing tool for Patreon. Because everybody else, they're just like, I have Patreon and I'm going to spam your email until you maybe look at my Patreon. And they don't, because I'll look at those Patreons when I get all those emails and go, oh, you still have 3 subs. Good for you. It hasn't gone up since then because it's not the way to market where you are. No, this is my new creative process. This is who I am now. I'm a Patreon creator. Here's what this is going to look like. There's that. You can't do that without a big move. Right? Like,
yeah,
really
it was shocking. And like, I remember getting phone calls from people like
I called you.
Yeah, I know you called me. You called me. Yeah. And it was just one of those things where I was like, I wish I had made the decision not 3 days into a Kickstarter. Because I was like, the week before I was already thinking about it and I was like, oh, well, I already told people about it. No, but I think what's cool about this industry is it is changing. All these writers, they went over to Substack, and so now it gives the conversation, well, let's talk about Substack. And then DC Comics just signs a deal with Webtoons, and now Batman is on Webtoons, and it's like, why is Batman on Webtoons? And I think it's a really cool evolving industry, but at the same time, someone said, like, are you only going to be on Patreon? I'm like, no, like, you still have to do there's still, you still got, like, I'm still, like, in February and August, I'll still be on Kickstarter every month. And then and after that, once the Kickstarters are done, I'll be on Indiegogo. And then after that, the books will be on Amazon. And then you just have to, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to be on Webtoon or my Patreon. It's mostly I see Patreon as a, like, as I'm working on the book right now, the book's not even finished, but as I'm working on the book, I'm still getting funds.
Right.
For the book.
Patreon seems to be like your almost your beta readers.
Yes, and it's
your flagship.
Like, yeah, and they'll comment. They'll be like, "Hey, getting excited." And I can kind of see from their reactions each, because I'm only 2 episodes ahead of them, the readers, and so if they comment and they're just like, "Oh, like," I can kind of gauge like what they're thinking, and most of the time I ignore it. Quit doing good stuff. We can't just make Tyler Carpenter section. Only John Hendrick gets that treatment.
So Jonathan Hendrick, Danny has called him the next Donny Cates. So much that Donny Cates retweeted it, and they have a cover based off it. That is.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'm looking for. You said crime comic. I did a crime comic. Oh, I fucking found it.
Yeah, I remember your crime comic. Hardline, right?
Yeah. And you know what? We were talking. There's my crime comic. Who's that bad boy? That's me. I was the main character.
It's the same character. It's the same character. You may not know that is a spinoff of his character, the biker character in Broke Down.
What's funny is and this kind of goes with what you said. Like, have we grown? And there's all these things that you go do, and you guys, we brought it up in your conversation today. Is like, why does it need to be a 6-issue series or 12? With the Hardline, when I wrote it, I told everyone it's a 6-issue series, and I couldn't fill more than 2 issues. And then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I never finished it because I just was like, it's a 6-issue miniseries for no reason.
Right.
So I think
I think that's important, is learning the length and figure out, you're not making it. So there's a weird thing that you get to in Kickstarter world. And Chuck and I have had this discussion. So in the beginning, you're just creating, just like my stuff, right? And now you're like, all right, so now I've got some fans. I know that I can like my stuff. Now I have to cater to those fans differently, right? So Chuck and Bal, he leans into Steph Wilson or Chris Madd. These guys have a following. Let's bring them over. Where I still struggle with that, right? I could do the Larry thing and get all my favorite artists who I know and just spend the money and get a whole bunch of covers. But that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't want to just sell one issue for a cover. I want to sell story. And again, hopefully the story keeps people going, for Tyler, for me, for Larry, for whatever. It's all about building an audience that works for you. I mean, even David Byrne does it, with Stake. He has 27 covers with everybody coming up from Alan Quah to he had Peach Momoko before Peach broke. Even Derek Chu, before Derek Chu ever did a DC cover, he had a cover. There's a way to do this and be part of that if you're in the know. But everyone's got to go their own path. And if I started doing that, it would look fake because it's not what I believe in, and they're going to call it, right?
And if you did do a Kickstarter, and Larry did great numbers on his last.
Sure, yeah, he did. He killed it.
But if you were to pull off a 12 variant, I'd be like, man, this is not what Travis does. Because I've backed tons of your campaigns. Dude, I'm so pissed. I have a guitar right here, and I call it my indie comics guitar because I have a bunch of stickers. But for Voodoo Nations, I put that sticker on something, and then I moved, and I lost the sticker. But you there with certain creators, you can tell like what they're gonna do.
Right.
And if you were to do that, I would probably go interesting move, not like him. Interesting move.
Right.
Not and I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't believe Travis did that. But it would definitely be like, oh, like he there's something going on. There's something. He doesn't trust his story. Well,
right. Yeah, sure.
He's not confident in his pitch. Right now. That's just me saying that. Anyone else who does a bunch of variant covers, I'm just saying for Travis specifically, because I know Travis is. Well, whenever I see one of your Kickstarters, I'm not the biggest fan of Voodoo Nation, so I didn't back the second one, but I'm gonna back this next one. I'm a last dayer, but when I read your pitches, I'm like, this guy's confident in his story. Like with Broke Dead, I was like, this guy's confident in his story. I own probably every variant cover, but it didn't need those variant covers because you were so confident in the pitch.
Sure. Yeah. No, I absolutely believe it. It's funny getting to that point and figuring out what that is, right? My last two campaigns have been 276 and 274 backers. I mean, those are big numbers. But people are like, "Where's your 10 grand?" I was like, "Well, I don't charge shipping. Add the $10 shipping, and then what?
Mhm.
Voila, we've got the 10 grand." Right?
I mean, my friend Tim Lim, I went out to dinner with him when I was in Texas, and he was like, his big thing is he hates marketing. That's like, if you like Star Trek, you'll like my comic, and so he's very like the pitch has to be good. So you have his series, they launched on Kickstarter with Common America 1, and it did, I think, 10 grand. There and he was like, "Oh, this is my best Kickstarter," and now their first one did 10 grand, and people loved the cover. And then they came back for the story, and now that they've launched Common America 4, they're at like 120 grand, and so and they only have one cover, so it's really about story. It's about story, or gimmicks.
Both. I mean, both. Neither one. I'm not against gimmicks. It's just it is what it is.
But you can tell there are some where you go there. I saw a Kickstarter that had 30 covers, and I was like, gimmick.
Right, and they work though. They work. But longevity. What does it look like? And have you ever seen them at a con? I have 30 covers of issue 1. All right, cool. Like, where's your issue 2? Well, I have 30 covers of issue 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I think going back to what your question was, like, do I see, like, I remember meeting Chuck in Indie Comic Conspiracy.
Yeah, I think we all met there.
Yeah, I think we all met in Indie Comic Conspiracy. I don't ever go in that group anymore. Not that it's a bad group, but it's just different now. And I think funny enough, the person who told me this is it's Heather Antos, editor at, I don't know, whatever company she keeps getting moved to. And she was just saying that, like, she said that whenever you start meeting people in comics, you're going to have kind of like a quote unquote graduating class. And like, you should be progressing with them, even if you guys are all doing different things. And there should be a time where you go, I don't know what's going on over here, because it's a new set of people.
Right.
Who are doing their own thing. She says, like, it's okay. You might think, oh, I need to always be over here. And it's okay to leave those people behind because you're still moving this way. And it's not like, oh, I'm being rude. It's just, I'm with my group of people.
My peers.
My peers. Like, I talk to this guy, Tim Lim, like every week. But he's not in my quote unquote graduating class. I'm still trying to figure things out where he has figured things out.
Right.
And it's okay to, like, know where what part of the train you're at, as long as you're on the train that's moving forward.
No, that's good, Chuck. That's basically Chuck and I's conversation. Base.
We're also freaking smart.
What it looks like to graduate and what it looks like to be.
And what Chuck's version of graduating is, and what yours is different than mine.
Oh yeah, totally.
We all have one of the best advices I ever got was from Chuck, and he said, "What's your dartboard?" And I just remember being like,
"You're so mad."
I was so mad, and I remember just sitting there, just like, "Oh, fuck that guy! I guess I'm never talking to Chuck again." Like, that made me realize, I was like, you know what? That statement ruined actually a ton of friendships with me over this last year, because I kept people were trying to give me their dartboards, and I was saying, your dartboard isn't my dartboard.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what Chuck's success is not my success. What Travis wants isn't what I want. Yeah. And I think you as a creator need to figure out what you want. Are you trying to get into Marvel? Then you got to go on that train. If you got to figure it out.
Yeah. I actually had to do that with a creator recently. He's done amazing things, sold tons of books, absolutely awesome guy. And we're sitting down for our first book together. And I said to him, so what's your play like in your career? And he's like, I just want to sell good books. And I'm like, yeah, it's bullshit. Everyone wants to do that. Do you want to go career? Well, yeah, of course I do. Yeah, well, not everyone's like that. So what does that career look like? And I kept kind of nailing into him, like, because the moves that we make with this book, the stuff that we do with this book, as in variant covers or whatever, all of that is going to play into your dartboard. And so if he doesn't have that panned out, and so that was a really cool conversation to be able to have.
I know why I was pissed off at you, Chuck, because I was also pissed off at Travis the same day because you guys were both on that stream. It was because that was the ICC stream. So you guys were giving me knowledge right after a really hostile stream, and I was just like, I am not ready for this.
But here's the thing.
I remember that.
One of the things, and for people who are watching this, there's a decent amount of people still watching. I will say this, know your crew and the people who will have your back. Like Tyler has a bad stream that we hear about. Like we're going to be in the chats, but we may not appear in Tyler's chats for months, but we'll be in the chat that night, right? Yeah. like I think that's one of the things to know about indie comics. And when I watch Chuck grow, one of the things I love about watching Chuck grow is everyone knows him as the editor, and that people use him as the editor. But it's watching him fight the desire to write and doing all that amazing stuff. Because I think he's a very talented writer and he's got a very talented mind on those things. But finding that balance, and what I've seen him in the last probably 3 or 4 months is really cut down who he's working with, and some of them are natural, just closers. Some stuff is to know that if I'm going to edit, it's got to be someone who I can really help elevate, really someone who needs Chuck, like me specifically. Because if they don't need me specifically, they can go to another editor. There's other editors out there. And watching him do that so he can build more time to write or create, to put more things in the world. Because I think you see like, hey, I want to finish all these things. And every time I don't finish something, it's never my fault. But what if I could harass them more? Because you don't need to harass them because you're so busy doing other stuff,
Yeah.
Not calling me out for anybody's listening. You guys create your book.
I like
thank you,
I like all of Chuck's writing. I loved Belial. I thought it was I thought Belial was just, I was like, this is what comic books are for, just pure entertainment.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
And then I really liked the Welcome to the Void.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm yet to get to the next part.
I know I do. So it will please you to note that I had some edits that needed to be done to that, and it's been sitting at like 75% done for years. Mm-hmm. And I recently got those edits done, and it's because I think I'm ready to make that thing happen, to pull the trigger and finish it.
I also think you see this when people, I guess, level up, is they don't let setbacks stop them. I know a couple creators who they're like, oh, like this thing happened and now it's over, like it's game over. And with Chuck, with like someone like Chuck, he's just like, well, Welcome to the Void isn't like the series is like kind of like on hiatus. We're gonna do Belial, and I'm gonna edit all these million projects, and then we're gonna do Essence House. And I was listening to a stream yesterday, and the person was like, I don't want to create ideas. I only want to work for Marvel. And I was like, you sound really uncreative. Like I feel like as a comic book creator, if you aren't pissed off that you don't have time to do the next idea, then you're not very creative. Because I'm drawing this book. I outlined everything. I'm like, this is 6 years. This is 6 years of my life on this one story. What am I going to do? This one. And if you don't have those, this one, if you don't have like a next story, I don't know. I work for a book publisher, so anytime I talk with an author and I say, do you have another book ready for us? And they're like, oh, I only wanted to do that one. I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh.
I mean, it's okay. Sometimes we only have the one in us. But I think for the three of us, though, I think we've known it all along about ourselves and about the other guys, is that no, we're in for the long haul. Like we're sadists. We're masochists. We're willing to take the damage. We want to see how far we can go with this. I think all three of us are very similar, at least in that regard.
Yeah, I'm curious. Also just with that same night. So you said the dartboard, then that pissed me off, and then Travis, he said, well, Tyler, and this pissed me off, and then like I agreed with him like now, like a year and a half later. But Travis was like, well, Tyler, we're different. And I'm like, how are we different, Travis? And you're like, well, I'm in it to sell books. And I was just like, what the fuck do you think I'm in it for? And you're like, you're here to build a community. And for like the longest time, I was just like, I don't know what Travis is talking about. I'm trying to sell books. But 100% correct. And that pissed me off. But it's 100% true. But it pissed me off. But it's 100% true. And so I think another thing with creators is sometimes you surround yourself with yes people. And like Travis and Chuck kicked my ass that night. And
we love you, but we are not yes people.
Yeah,
I would be a shitty editor if I was.
And that pissed me off. But like what they said, like really like helped me like put like compass myself. I remember I did a stream with Chuck, and we talked for like 2 hours off stream, and Chuck was like, "Bro," and I was like, "Hey." And we had like a hardcore heart to heart, and we got on the same page. And I think if you're always surrounding yourself with creators who are like, "Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great." I talk with some creators every now all the time, and we're like in a little group, and if they'll be like, "Yo, like that arm, ugh," and I'll be like, "What do you mean, ugh? I spent an hour drawing that arm, and it's still ugh. You want to fight?" But you need those people. So if you said amateurs. But if someone new who's watching this, a creator is like, "Oh, I like surround yourself with like."
Yeah, but like I mean, most of those people were higher than us.
I know.
Were higher than us. So
but if there's newer creators watching this, because you're still very active on Facebook, I would say find people like Chuck and Travis who will make you like leave the stream and go, I guess I'm not friends with them anymore. And then, but they're right, and then you get back on track.
but there's nothing wrong. I mean, because I build community too, right? Like, because I do anthology stuff like that. But you and I do very, very different. You want to be actively helping them, like, oh, let me see your art. Let's live off each other. I just want to go, hey, I'm here for you right now. This moment, you have me right now.
For this, well, you know what's funny actually is not anymore.
That's all you get. Like, and then I'll see you next time I come around to you. And neither one of them is wrong. They're just different.
Well, you know what's funny is that's totally changed for me now because I deleted all my indie comic community videos on my YouTube channel.
No longer want community?
No, I still want. I want a different community. Okay. So I purged all that content last night. All 300 videos on like how to make.
I highly disagreed with that, but that's okay. You did you.
That's another one of those things where I'm like, and I don't get it, but let's see what happens.
But Travis, you said it. You said that you put that in there, and I'm glad you put that in there because you felt okay to challenge me, right? And it's good to have because I hadn't done it yet, right? And so when you said, and so it made me go, man, should I? Maybe do I start a new channel? And it made me think even more just to make sure. Okay, am I making? Because if you just you might. Wonder what would happen if someone was like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't cancel chefs." Right. I'm still glad I did.
Well, I mean, it's too late, and I apologize for even saying this, but I think about it. I think about your son watching your progression, right, and watching you as a creator, like going to a new channel, seeing who you were then to the creator you are in the next phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, looking at American Splendor, George Lucas to Star Wars, George Lucas.
Oh, so you're seeing it as like an archive of
right.
You mean American Graffiti?
American Graffiti,
yeah,
right.
I was like, I still have those videos, and I might post them on a different channel. I did it out because of the algorithm.
YouTube algorithm. Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, I should just post like a John Talk archive channel, and just post all those on there.
Yeah, or just the ones that you feel that like really made an impact, but you get rid of the comments, right?
Yeah. I'll just post all the live streams that we were all on, where we're just shitting on people.
just my boys, just chatting.
And on this video, this is an old one from last year. Well, we were shitting on this person. All right, well, enjoy watching.
We can call it drawn shit talk.
Yeah, exactly. Wendy even messaged me. She's like, "Keep the just writing video," and I had to delete that one too. And I say delete. I private it all. I still have them.
Yeah, I think it's important. There's all these rules that everyone's going to tell you, right? Wendy's just want to keep write every day. I don't care if you write every day. Just make sure when you write, that's what you're doing. Like that's
Yeah.
your dedication.
Mhm.
Like I don't care, don't draw every day. No, I don't need you to draw every day, but when you're drawing, make sure that is your focus. That is what you're doing. You're not watching like that's your focus. And when you do it, make sure you have a plan for these things. If I'm writing something, I want to write it for a purpose. Right? I don't want to just write it to put it in a folder. The person's like, you know what? I've created 347 characters, Tyler. They're the best characters. Here, look at my folder of 347 characters. Yeah, but what are you going to do with those 347 characters? That's what I want.
Oh, they're cool.
I'll tell you that Just Right video, something that's amazing about it, and I would love people to take a look at it, is that was done, what, like 4 years ago?
Yeah, like three years ago.
Okay. And then I look at it now and I go, that should have aged badly. Like, I really was expecting a lot of those people to have fallen out, been gone.
They're most, like 90% of them are still doing stuff.
90% of them are doing stuff and are doing considerably better than they were when they made that video.
Steph
like
Cannon,
90%.
Steph Cannon,
George Feast Jean, Frank,
Kevin
Frank
Rototoe.
Martin. Kevin, yeah, dude.
Yeah. It's right. Like if you were to watch that, you go, oh, like no one on their video is making stuff still, and they all are. With that
Joseph
though,
Dewis.
with what you said, Travis, earlier, you said like you should still be reading comics,
right?
Like you need to stay. And so kind of like with my YouTube thing, when someone was like, why'd you do the YouTube thing? I was like, oh, it's just like I've been researching for the last 2 weeks about the algorithm, and I'm like, this is why I'm not growing on YouTube. And so I have to, and someone was like, oh, like, no, you just need to get people to comment on your video. That's what you needed to do 4 years ago. And I'm like, it's 2021. Like, it's totally different now. And clearly that person, if they want to be a quote unquote YouTuber, you need to stay up to date with the craft on what's most important. So it goes back with comics. If you want to make comics like I haven't read a mainstream book in probably 5-6 months, but I went back to my store to get those Black Label Batman books, but I'm still like reading mainstream manga right now. And you need to know what's going on though. You can't say I dipped out at Claremont. Once Claremont was done with X-Men, like I dipped out. You're like, well, if you want to get into the mainstream now, they don't want a Claremont.
Right.
They want
yeah.
I don't know what they want.
Well, they want a Hickman. They want a Donny Cates. They want
they want a Donny Cates. They want a Ryan
Stegman for an artist.
Yes, yeah, like
they
exactly.
Want a Ed Grissom. They want a Jeff Lemire. They want
if you're like, oh, I like horror comics and I don't read horror comics. You're like, you don't know who James Tynion is, and if you need to know, oh, I want to get into crime comics. No one writes crime comics. It's like, yeah, have you heard of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips? Like they're the kings of crime. Like,
Brian Azario,
exactly. So like, if you want to go into comics, you need to know the landscape of like what's going on. Like, you don't have to know everything, but if you want to do horror comics, know what's going on in that space. If you want to do crime comics, please read Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, please. I beg of you.
Oh, and just read in general. Like, that's my biggest problem with indie comics is the people who are like, oh, I just decided to do
that. In your last one of these live streams, I was shocked that like
it breaks my heart.
You had like 9 people who were like, yeah, I haven't read anything in like 10 years. And I was like, you haven't picked up anything? Like anything.
No free comic book day? Like what?
Anything. Like that last week's panel shocked me when you asked that question.
Yeah.
And they're like, nothing. I was like, nothing. You couldn't find. That's another big problem I have with like Twitter comics. They're like, oh, all mainstream comics are garbage. You just gotta find them, man.
Right.
I just found out about James Tynion's House on the Lake.
It's so good.
Like 2 days ago, and I was like, and on my Discord channel, I was like, what is this? And someone was like, oh, and they gave me a summary, and I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I got to pick this up now.
And I mean, look at James Tynion. Like, follow him 10 years ago. He was literally the co-writer of everything that Scott Snyder did.
He was hey Scott, you got 2 pages in the back of Batman for me?
Right.
That was him.
And now everyone's like, how many more books can he do? Please.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's true. Like, when I started reading comics, was my first comic that I ever bought was actually Scott Snyder's Batman. And then I remember like those backup stories. I'm like, oh, this James Tynion guy, he gets 2 pages. Maybe I can one day be like James Tynion and get 2 pages in a Batman book.
It's funny. Like I was talking to somebody, I was like, "That's all my goal. Like that's it. I'd be very happy if I get to write an annual 4-page Spider-Man giving a gift to a little kid, because Santa missed him, and that's what I have to do. Like no creativeness at all. Like I've made it. I've made it. Peter Parker was mine for 1 minute.
Well, I on Twitter. I have a Twitter exclusive Batman comic I do every week.
I saw. I
Yeah,
saw.
and you know what? If I can't make money on it, but if you're so like obsessed with wanting to do like one of those DC or Marvel characters, just do it. Just do it.
And it happened actually in Fantastic Four 60th anniversary just came out last week. There is a 4-page story from a writer artist. Literally did not work in any comics whatsoever. Did a fan fiction Impossible Man that Dan Slott saw, shared it. CB found it and then hired him. Hey, do you want to do a Fantastic Four story?
If you love it so much, do the stories. Like I like Batman when it's more like detective work, the ground level, like Gotham Central. So I'm like, you know what? This takes me an hour to do. I can do one on my lunch a week, and then you just have fun with it. If you really want to be creative and play in those sandboxes, you can do and find a way to do that. Like that's I got 2 patrons from just that webcomic.
Nice.
And so you just do stuff. You just gotta find ways.
Nice. But I think we should be wrapping this up just for the viewers who want to go to bed. We can talk after. I want to show you guys some stuff too. So, but I can't show that.
He's showing us his OnlyFans stuff. This is exciting.
My OnlyFans. But let's say goodbye. I'll tell you both why I appreciate you. But let's stick around. Chuck, go ahead. Pitch some stuff.
Well, I'm part of so many amazing things, and I've already kind of, they've been talked about and shown off and all that kind of stuff. So please do check them all out. I am excited about Sever. I'm excited about Expired. I'm excited about Depowered. They're all great projects, and I think you guys will really enjoy them. If you like those pitches, the teams are all working really hard and knocking it out. So, yeah, definitely check it out. For me, you know what, man? I'm still doing Chronicles of the Essence Guard. We're just about to wrap up season 3. I would love it if you guys checked it out. The first 2 seasons became our novel Essence House, and I know that you might look and go 3 seasons, like that's an awful lot to listen to. But what's great is that we kind of did like a Narnia thing where you can read the books in any order. It doesn't matter. So if you want, you can come in at season 3 and just enjoy season 3 by itself. You don't have to have listened to seasons 1 and 2. They will certainly add to the story and make it bigger than it was, but you'll still very much enjoy it without. So I would love it if you guys went and checked out Chronicles of the Essence Guard on all of the major streaming sites. I want to say
something I appreciate about Chuck. One thing that pisses me off when I see indie comic writers is they're so like set on writing a comic, which writing comics are the best. I think the greatest form of medium.
Right, sure.
But gosh, if you can't afford an artist, it's kind of hard. Like find a different way to tell your story. Do it in a novel form. You guys did a podcast, an audio story. Like that's so cool. So like if you really are desperate to get your story out there, there's so many different ways that you can do it. Essence House. I listened to the first season last. I think it was last year. I listened to it.
Yeah.
And then you guys were like, oh yeah, we did this novel. I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're writing a novel. And I think last year I was like, I'm gonna try to write a novel. Failed. But this year I'm 15,000 words into a novel because
Congrats.
I'm like, thank you. It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I can't draw this story because I'm drawing this one, but I still want to tell a story. So you find a way to get those stories. And so one thing I think is cool about Chuck is he's not like, oh, I'm married to comics. I guess I'm only going to do Essence House and comics. He's like, no, I'm going to do an audio show. Oh, and I'm going to do a novel. And we're going to keep doing it. It's going to be awesome. You guys, how many listens you guys got? I think last time I asked, you guys were at like 1,000.
Oh, Yeah, now I'm gonna sound kind of gross. We broke 7,000 recently.
That's amazing.
That's freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Like 7,000 people that you wouldn't have been able to reach had you not done that
Yeah.
form.
Yeah, and
That's
and it's funny because I was actually looking through some of the stuff. You can see on, like, I think I listened through Buzzsprout, so I checked Buzzsprout and I noticed we had some followers, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see who's following us. I didn't know a fucking one of them.
That's
like
awesome.
Not one of them, and I was like, that's really cool. Like, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, man, it's been a trip.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
No, all right. So let me tell you two things for Chuck. Some good news and stuff. So one, Chuck, on my wife's nightstand is Essence House. She took the book from my thing and she's been reading it.
Oh.
Message her, which I think is the best compliment you can get is getting my wife to read your stuff. If I'm honest, that's my favorite thing. So that's one. Two, what I want to say is, thank you so much for allowing me to to kind of like pull your stuff apart to try to make you better. Because that's a rare thing that a lot of people can't do. I'm speaking of Essence House specifically. I remember a couple of times where I was like, hey, you did this. You should have done it this way. Or, hey, this doesn't work. And like, you were like, nobody told me that. Like, I've had tons of listens and nobody told me that. And it makes sense. And I can fix it. You can fix it in the book, that it gives you the opportunity. And, any of us, especially in comics, if you make something, if you tell Tyler early on, if you're on his Patreon, hey, that page sequence didn't make sense, he can fix it before it gets to print.
Man, Wendy said, "Oh, this page needed some a basic edit," and I was like, "Whatever." And then I looked and I was like, "So I misspelled a word in every page."
Wendy's gonna catch that, man. She catches me.
I appreciate it.
But I appreciate the ability to do that because a lot of people can't. A lot of people they think their work is the godsend, like the best thing. I don't think I'm the best thing. I want someone to rip my stuff apart so I can get better. It's the only way I'm going to get better. My friend Carl here, he is often like, if I have too many grammar errors, like I'm known for my grammar errors on Facebook, but if it's too bad, Carl will go, hey man, editors do look at Facebook. Like, I know.
What I appreciate a bunch of things about you. I love your hustle and how you're the community, the community work you do and all that. But on a personal note, and I'm gonna get a little mushy, but your phone calls, I feel like they make my day. Like literally when Travis calls, everything gets put on hold. Like, okay, cool. Where are we gonna go? And I love fucking dissecting everything. The marketing moves, the technical writing, everything with you. It's so much fun. To me, you're a brother in comics because I feel like we both we do things differently, but we see it very similarly. Right. And so, I know that there's been times where I'm like, I feel this way. Am I wrong? And you've said it, like you've said to me, yeah, I think you're just in a bad mood. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to sit on this and see if that changes, or maybe I don't agree with you, and that's fine too. And so I feel like you've always been a great sounding board for me to be able to just be like, this is how I feel. Does that sound right? Or is this justified? Or what do you think about this move? Or watching the moves that you make, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
he's talking about the Ninja Turtle, just for the record.
That's what I thought too. The last Ronin. So yeah, man, I love our talks, and I really do look forward to them.
Appreciate that, Tyler. Pitch at Patreon. We got you one sub tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You guys go check out my Patreon, patreon.com/drawandtalk. I try to make everything pretty affordable. So for $2 a month, you get all my exclusive content. Plus, you get all my comics digitally. and you get to read my series, The Girl with the Mecha Fist, early every 2 weeks. So you get to be part of that experience. As well as if you're part of the Patreon, you get discounts on the books. You get the exclusive Patreon only cover. There will be 5 of them available on the Kickstarter for a stupid amount price, for marketing reasons. I just want to use the cover logo image for the Kickstarter. But yeah, the Patreon's cool. We have a good community. We have a good community on there, and you get to read more than just one comic. You get to read everything I put out. I put it out on there first, and sometimes I do collabs as well with other creators, and I get their exclusive books from their patrons, and then I'll send them over to mine.
And by the way, you can, if you want, put both the broke down pages and the Cthulhu if you want. If you want to
there you go then. There you go then. I'll put.
Yeah, if you want to put Orange Cone Work, as like a subsection and put that's 6 pages. You can.
All right, there you go. I'll be updating then some 6 pages, because those were fun things, and I drew those traditionally, and I'm primarily digital, but I was like, I want to do these traditional.
Wait, you have Cthulhu Invades Wonderland stuff?
Yeah, I did those all traditional.
Oh my goodness, I may.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but when I work with you guys, I'm like, I guess I have to go traditional. So Viscarian Tales is also traditional too. I did it all. I did it all.
So
traditional.
wait, Wendy could own some of that art?
Yeah, I have it. I have it all in my closet right here.
We'll be talking to you when the Kickstarter rolls around. We'll be talking to you when the Kickstarter.
I have the Cthulhu art, and I still have the.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wendy art.
Because that'll make that stuff makes for great great high level tiers.
Oh heck yeah. I think I even have the cover for Viscarian Tales, and because I did that traditional as well.
Well, we still need. You never found. We'll do that. Hold on. All right, let me wrap this up, and we'll talk privately. Tyler, I appreciate that you swing big. No one swings bigger than you. Like, you do crazy shit that I don't understand whatsoever. And what I love about it is you learn from it each time, even if you mess up. You're willing to own it. You're willing to move the next thing. Carl, I'm coloring Cthulhu right now. Nice.
Oh, very nice.
That's what I love about you is your willingness to take the good out of it and go to the next thing. Even these things that I don't agree with what you're saying, and then you are man enough to go, all right, I see what you're saying now. I didn't like it at the time, but it makes sense. And even relationships with Larry, I know you and Larry kind of buried the hatchet. That's great. Relationships matter to you.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate everything you said.
So even if it's temporary, even if it's whatever, it's good to do those things that you try. Even if it doesn't work out all the time, you try.
You know what? I anytime something new pops up, you'll be like, oh yeah, Tyler was on there. The moment I saw James Tynion's I'm on Substack, 5 minutes later I had a Substack, and I hated it.
No, I think I'm gonna, like I said, I think I'm gonna go big as we started this. I think I'm gonna go big on Substack at some point soon because I want to be on that tier and
You know what I did? What do you use for your mailing list right now?
MailChimp. I'm just going to switch to Substack.
Yeah, I just exported my MailChimp, threw it into Substack. And I'll say this to any creator who's still listening with Substack. What's cool about Substack is it's a social media for email lists. So my email list grew by 50 people just because they saw Drawn Talk as a Substack. And then I started getting emails just in that way. Right. So do it, guys.
So, all right. So we're going to end this broadcast. I have a book called Expired out. It's on Kickstarter right now. Expired is a book about 7 islands, basically why it exists. 98% of the world is filled with water. They have bracelets. Chuck edited it. Those bracelets tell them whether or not they can breathe oxygen, how much they have. It is a very, very cool book. It was not created by me, but I've written it. It is an Orange Cone property. You get all the Orange Cone goodness. If you want to see me do sci-fi fantasy, go ahead and check it out. We have everything in this book from different races to dragons to all sorts of cool stuff. So check it out. I'm not even supposed to share about the dragon. That's a spoiler, but it's 1:30 in the morning. I don't care. Damn it. You got this song? Cool for you.
I love Wendy's comment. Tyler is our community's beta tester. I just come out of it just yeah, guys, don't go there. It didn't work.
No, we love you. Thank you, Tyler, Chuck. I didn't kick you guys out because, again, like I said, these guys are my OGs. They don't get kicked out like ever.
Yeah, take that, you amateurs.
The rest of
You
you.
publishers and you tons of Kickstarters that are
Right.
successful. Screw
Josh,
you
who I want to
guys.
work for, and like Russell, who writes books, and Brett, who does comics. But yeah. All right. Peace, guys. See ya.